smoke. Here we go, here we go. Here we go into a show. Here we go, here we go. You got girl, you got man. Here we go, here we go. Trimming in the dirt bag. Here we go, here we go, yo. Here we go, yo.
And welcome inside of the press box here at Crooked Oak High School. I'm Greg Sherman. This is a critical game tonight for both teams as Stillwater's coming off of a pummeling 34-7 loss to Oklahoma City, while Norman also fell last week and they dropped to 1-5 on the season. Let's take a look at those standings presented by our friends at Fox 25. Now, these are updated through the end of our early game today. Oklahoma City, a winner earlier today, 6-1. Most likely they're going to be first place heading into the playoffs. Stillwater's at 4-1. Shawnee and Midwest City at 2-4. Norman is right now bringing up the rear at 1-5. No more playoff clinching scenarios for tonight, but a critical game as Norman's trying to stay out of the last spot and find a way to get in. Midwest City is off tonight, and with Midwest City off, we invited Dennis Albert, the head coach of Midwest City, into the booth to be an analyst tonight. Dennis, welcome to the booth. This is a rematch of a game earlier this season when Norman drove several times inside of the Stillwater 15 but couldn't score, and that's how they ended up losing. What are going to be some of the keys in tonight's game?
Well, number one, Norman's going to have to run the ball a lot. They don't do very well passing. They have a new quarterback, so that's going to be one of their big deals. They can run the ball, but if they can pass, they need to pass short and keep driving the ball, keep moving it downfield.
How hard is it for Norman being Stillwater's first opponent after Stillwater got lit up and blown out last week by the Gunners, and Stillwater's going to be looking for revenge? How tough is that?
It's going to be real tough, but you got to look at both sides of the ball. I mean, the Stillwater loss and Norman loss, and they're both looking. Norman has to win a game. You know, they have to win another game to stay in there. And Stillwater, all they have to do is, put one on the board. That's basically it. But it doesn't mean anything to them, but they're still going to be fired up to play.
Norman's lost 4 in a row since their win over Midwest City earlier this season. Midwest City beat Norman last week. For Norman, this may be their last chance to win a ball game as they'll finish up with Shawnee next week. So coming up next here on OKFootball.net, it's going to be Bedlam Part 2 as Stillwater takes on Norman. And we're back at Crooked Oak High School, ready to start Game 2 of week number 8. It is Bedlam Part 2 as Stillwater takes on Norman, and right away Stillwater takes the opening kickoff up past the 50-yard line. Penalty flag on the play as Galen Burris, number 85, runs that the kickoff up to the 49-yard line. And we had David Potter in the booth as an analyst in game number 1 today with Oklahoma City and Shawnee. And now tonight we have Dennis Albert for your listening and viewing pleasure. Dennis, head coach of Midwest City, you guys are off this week. Dennis, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Dennis, it's a little unique having isn't it a little unique being in, having a headset on, having to analyze the game instead of just worrying about your team?
Yeah, it's a little better this way.
And we've got
I'll look at a career later.
Yeah, look at a career, perfect. And we've got a block in the back against Stillwater, so that will drop the that'll move them back a little bit, but still an excellent kickoff return by Galen Burris as Greg Sherman and Dennis Albert joining you from the booth. David Potter is still up here with us, although he has now moved over to shooting game number 2. David did a pretty good job in game number 1, and now we're ready to see, Dennis, if you can match your assistant coach.
Well, I'll do my best.
So Stillwater's going to take over first down and 10. Talked to Jeff Tabish during pregame today, and Jeff told us that he's now finally got his quarterback situation set up as Brandon Ingham, number 9, will be starting tonight. He was the original start at the beginning of the season, but was lost due to an injury for a good chunk of the season. Chuck Ferguson was behind center for a while, but now Ingham is back under center. Terrence Burris is the running back, is back in the backfield, and he's calling for a timeout already just 8 seconds into the ball game. And Dennis, let's get into some of the key points of the ball game. Now, Stillwater got blown out badly by the Gunners last week. How important is it for them to get off to a good start tonight?
They really got to get off to a good start. They got to start out, they got to set the tone with their defense. Once they do that and they get their offense rolling, they'll be good to go.
Now, Norman has been struggling as of late. They're averaging not even 10 points. They're averaging only 10 points a ball game, by far the fewest in the league. They actually dominated the line of scrimmage against Stillwater, the first meeting of the season. How important is it for them to actually, when they get down into the red zone, actually score?
Well, if they can run the ball effectively, they'll be good to go. They're really going to have to concentrate on the pass. Their passing is really not that great, but since they've got a new quarterback, so last week let's see if he can stay in the pocket and do some damage, because at the end of the game he did a good job.
Terrence Burris takes the handoff, gets all the yardage, gets back onto Norman's side of the field as he's going to pick up 9 yards. About 8-9 yards, no hash marks here, so we always have to guesstimate. It's going to bring up second down and 2. Weather conditions, just like we had the first game, not a cloud in the sky, probably right around 70 degrees, as we're going to have our final regular season game under the lights tonight. We'll have night games come back for the playoffs in a few weeks, which Midwest City is hoping to be a part of. It's going to be second down and 1 as we're 45 seconds into the game. Burris is going to take the handoff, gets right up to the line of scrimmage, going to be about half a yard short. Bring up third down and short, and we'll take a look at the standings. And when we take a look at them, you'll see that Shawnee had a chance to clinch a playoff spot today, but were blown out 28-0 by the Gunners, so they're 2-4, tied with Midwest City. Norman, if they can get a win tonight, an upset, they'd be back to within half a game of that pack. And Dennis, for Norman's sake, how important is it for them to win this game and stay in the race?
It's really important. Anytime you can get another win, especially to a team with this number 2, it's going to bring up the morale. Next week they'll go into the game playing a lot tougher. And
that will be against Shawnee next week, as that will likely be, if Shawnee beats Norman, likely that will put Shawnee in. That will almost certainly put Midwest City in. We'll talk about next week's schedule later on. There's the pitch handoff to Burris. That was a first down, and Burris gaining more yardage, crossing inside of the 40 down to about the 37. Gain of about 9. And Dennis, I don't know if you're noticing, but we're starting to see Stillwater going into their favorite offense, and that is run, and take as much time off the clock.
Well, if you can do it and it works, let's keep on doing it. You know, that's my philosophy. So Stillwater does a real good job in it, and they did it the first time they played. So if they keep it up, they're going to have an effective running game. This might be just a running ball game.
Now, when you guys played Stillwater, we'll get to your meeting earlier in the season when you guys. Actually, we have an officials timeout. While we have that moment, when you guys played them, you only played them once this year. Close game, fell down 13-0 in the first quarter, but fought back, and lost 16-9. How tough what have you been able to take out of that game and being able to follow Stillwater for the close of the season?
Well, we let them get away with a couple good ones at the beginning of the game, and then we started shutting them down, and our defense stepped up. I think at that time our offense wasn't really playing up to par, and now they started moving the ball a little more effectively. So this next game might be a really good one.
Speaking of moving the ball, Stillwater moves the ball, and they pick up another first down as they are doing one of their patented Stillwater Outlaw drives where they run and don't let your opponent get on the board. You guys will see Stillwater next week, so I'm pretty sure you'll be over there making a couple of notes for next week. Little cheat sheet.
Definitely.
As I see Jeff Tabish strolling around about the 40-yard line, just trying to figure out what the wind is. Obviously trying to figure out should he need to get a field goal attempt in there. And, we have movement. One of the Norman players, number 24, Caleb Watts, he not only jumped the line of scrimmage, I think he almost jumped out of the stadium. And he was drawn into the neutral zone, so it's a false start for Stillwater. It's going to back him up 5 yards, first down and 15. Right now, Stillwater has 21 yards on the ground, all by Terrence Burris. Norman has not seen the ball yet tonight. And Dennis, as always, anytime you've got anything to add, feel free to bring her on in, as it's going to be first down at 15, 11:45 to go here in the first quarter. No score. Ball is just inside of the 40. Hand off to Belleville. Cross to the 35-30. Bowling over tacklers. Nice gain as he's able to pick up 11 on the play, and that's going to make it second down and shorts for Belleville. It's going to bring up second down and 4. We're about 4 minutes into the ball game here, and this is not a good. This is not the start that Norman wanted to see. They could not afford to allow Stillwater to drive down the field early in the ball game. High pitch to Burris. Burris takes it down, breaking tackles, and he is gone. 10-5, touchdown, Stillwater. Terrence Burris with a touchdown run. 29-yard touchdown run on that play for Terrence Burris, and Stillwater does exactly what they want to do, get the early touchdown on the board. Dennis, how was he able to score that touchdown?
Well, their defense has got to play a little more discipline, because their end came off the side over there, and he rushed, he got beat. So if they can play a little bit more discipline, they might be able to stop him. But right now it looks like they're moving the ball really good.
So Stillwater gets the early lead, 4:09 in, and Ryan Henderson, as usual, in to attempt the extra point. That drive went 60 yards, and we got penalty flag on the play as the snap is muffed. Henderson only able to fall on it. Let's check the penalty marker. Ken Stewart, as usual, is our referee for all of the OMFL games. As Burris had 49 yards on that drive. And we'll check the penalty flag. It's looking like the initial signal is against Norman. Let's double check. And it's going to be encroachment against Norman. So that'll make it half the distance to the goal. And let's see if Tabish stays with Henderson on the field, and looks like he will. As Henderson is one of the top kickers in the league this year, along with the kicker from Shawnee, that's Chad Thomas. High snap, kick is down, it is up, it is good! We have 10 minutes, 51 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and our score is Stillwater 7, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, taking a look at Terrence Burris getting his groove on a little bit. He got his groove on that last drive, 49 yards by himself on that drive, the last 28 on the touchdown. Stillwater with the early 7-0 lead. Norman's going to see the ball for the first time tonight. Is Ryan Henderson ready to kick off? Got Little Mac number 1 back deep along with Victor Perez for the Nitro. Short kick, not going to make it anywhere near there. Fielded by one of the upmen. That is Farley, or Arthur Brewer fields it. Trying to turn the corner, 40, 45. Slammed down right about the 45-yard line, and that'll bring up the first down and 10 for Norman. We'll see them on offense for the first time tonight. And Dennis, tell me a little bit about the keys to the Norman offense tonight.
Well, like I said earlier, they're going to have to run the ball effectively, and they do that well. So we're going to see on this first drive whether they're going to be able to keep that momentum or whether they're going to be stopped.
Now, we've noticed, actually, I don't know if you've noticed, Dennis or David, my sponsor, we're noticing a lot. The Norman sideline's starting to dwindle a little bit, not just with fans, but with players too. Have you heard of anything or noticed of anything going on with them, Dennis?
I really haven't. I really haven't been keeping up with their sidelines and who they have and who they've lost. But I do know that they're going to have to keep their head up and keep their momentum going, because I know that with a 1-5 record, it's really hard to keep your players wanting to come back.
Josh Huckabee, number 14, in at quarterback. He was out last week. Actually suffered a work-related injury on his job that he has during the week and did not play last week. But he is back under center. Huckabee was actually our player of the game when Norman beat Midwest City for their only win of the season back in week 3, 20-16. And he's obviously going to be one of the important factors if Norman's going to stay in this game. Huckabee rolling off to his right. Pass is caught. That's a screen pass to David Pritchard. And that's going to be a short gain. Now, I've got David Pritchard listed as a lineman, and he is actually slow getting up. And it looks like he's favoring his right knee. As Jackie Smith is coming out to look at his guy, and we're going to have an injury timeout here on the field. We'll keep it right here as he's going to be helped off the field. That is 56, David Pritchard, and he's listed as a lineman, so he must have either switched positions or checked in as an eligible receiver, because there was no penalty flag on there for illegal touching. It's going to be a 1-yard pass on, or it's going to be, let's see, it's about a 2-yard gain on the play. They're listing it as 3 yards. It's going to be 2nd down and 9. And it's not going to be 1 for 1 for 2 yards. I know that's not significant, Dennis, but at least he's completed his first pass tonight, which he's had trouble getting off to good starts.
Well, that's been the case, but he's a good quarterback. He knows that him coming off an injury is going to help them a lot, because last week they had a new quarterback in, so him coming off an injury is going to help them a whole lot.
2nd down and 9. Actually, we'll call it 2nd down and 8. Fakes the handoff to Perez. Huckabee rolling out to his left, trying to find a receiver down deep. Throws it short. Pass is complete. That's going to be enough for a first down on the far sideline. Caught by number 85. That is Josh Sparks. And Huckabee's now 2 for 2, and like we said, these like you said, Dennis, all these little pass completions got to be helping his confidence out.
All you need is 5 yards, 5-5, and you got a first down. So if he can keep this going, he'll be good. I noticed that they haven't started with their running game yet, but that's the thing you want to establish first before you start passing. But since their passing game's working, let's see if it keeps on.
9:25 remaining here in the first quarter. Stillwater drove down the field and got their usual Stillwater special long drive ending in a touchdown run. It's going to be first down and 10 for the Nitro. Huckabee throws a quick slant, passes behind his receiver. That is Jared Singer. It's going to be incomplete. That'll bring up second down and 10. As we're taking a look here at some of Norman's past results, they did get they lost to you guys last week, but they got a touchdown, which was their first offensive game won in about 5 weeks. Although that was in garbage time, they really have not scored a touchdown on offense outside of garbage time since the Week 3 battle against you guys in the first meeting when they scored a late touchdown in the final 2 minutes of that ballgame to beat you guys. Second down and 10. Not ripping on Midwest City, just making sure that that's the last time they scored. Floating pass, and that's going to be intercepted, I think. Now it's going to be incomplete as that was just dropped there. That incomplete. As Galen Burris, I believe, was the cornerback there. So Huckabee, after completing his first 2 passes, now he's thrown 2 straight incompletions. He's right now 2 for 4 for 11 yards. It's going to be third down and 10 as we have 9:04 to play here in the first quarter. Beautiful sunset shaping up off to the west, which is to our right, which is where Norman is driving in right now. Nitro need to get down to about the 32 to keep the drive going. Huckabee looking to throw. He's under pressure, and he is going to be sacked. And he threw the ball, and that should be either in the grasp or intentional grounding. And it looks like Dennis. I don't see a flag out there. I thought he was clearly in the tackle box.
Oh, that looks like it was intentional grounding. It didn't make it past the line of scrimmage, and he was in the grasp, but still, that should have been intentional grounding.
So Norman's going to catch a break there. 3 straight incompletions by Huckabee. Still no rushing attempts as of yet. Let's see if Jackie Smith and Robert Dennis decide to punt it away or if they're going to try to make an early stand and go for it.
Their line is definitely going to have to give their quarterback a little more time to throw the ball. I mean, that pocket's there. He needs to step up. He keeps trying to roll out, but at the same token, I haven't seen him start their running game yet, and that's what's going to help him out with the pass.
Well, I doubt we'll see a running play here. It's going to be fourth down, and we'll have to beware of the fake here as Singer is back to punt for the Nitro. And Matt Taylor, number 19, back deep. Stillwater doesn't bring a rush. Taylor gets a pretty good punt away. Or Singer, excuse me. It's going to take a Nitro hop. Nitro going to have a shot at downing it, and they will.
Outstanding.
Nitro going to down at the 4-yard line. Dennis Albert says outstanding, and that's always a good thing. As the clock stops with 8:41 to go here in the first quarter, Stillwater still leading it, up 7-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, taking a look at head coach / defensive coordinator Jeff Tabish, and he's got to be happy with the way his team played on that last drive as they were able to. They gave up a couple of first downs to the Nitro, but were able to stop them, and now they get the ball back. Although they are backed up inside of their own 5-yard line. Run goes nowhere. We got a penalty flag on the play. And Dennis, what are some? I got to ask you, if you're a coach and you're inside your own 5-yard line, what are you trying to do when you're first down and backed up really deep?
You're trying to get some cushion so you can either pass. If you're having an effective running game, then you can get that cushion and pass and move the ball downfield. Being that close to the end zone, if they stop you, you're really going to have a hard time. Anytime, even if you punt, and if you don't get it past the 50, then there's not going to be much. They're still going to have good field position.
And a face mask penalty on the play, as that will give Stillwater some breathing room. We saw a lot of face mask penalties earlier in our first ball game today. I know, Dennis, you weren't here for that, but BJ Thomas was telling us during post game that a little thing he's got to work on finishing the tackling, but he told us he's going to keep a lot of his players out for that final game against Midwest City in week number 10. Not trying to give you insider information, Dennis, but he told us that he wants to make sure that his troops are healthy for the playoffs, which will start 3 weeks from tonight. So,
well, I can definitely understand that. That makes a lot of sense.
So we've got it now. It's going to be first down and 7. The down you don't see that often. Ingham trying to roll out. Now he's going to it was a handoff to Jerwin Johnson. Johnson gets up to about the 15-yard line. That should be enough to give the Outlaws a first down, and they are at least out of the shadow of their own end zone. Gain of 9 on the play for Jerwin as they're now up to 69 yards of offense. And I know, Dennis, you've got to be watching this game cringing already, seeing Stillwater getting their running game established early.
That's actually a good thing. I mean, but the thing about it is that Norman's defense has got to step it up a little more. They haven't really been doing it. That was a good opportunity for them to step up and stop them right there so they can get good field position.
And Stillwater coming into tonight's game because of that blowout loss to the Gunners, they're actually only +7 in point differential. The Gunners through today's game, they're actually +116. And for our viewers at home wondering what that means, should the Gunners and Outlaws finish tied, as it's going to be second down or first down, there's the handoff up to about the 20-yard line. Belleville with a carry. Now, should Oklahoma City and Stillwater finish tied, because they've split their season series, they will go to point differential, and Oklahoma City is dominating that. So unless the only way that Stillwater is likely going to get that number 1 seed is if either Oklahoma City loses a game or if Stillwater wins out and blows their final 3 opponents out, which so far tonight this does have at least the early indications of a possible blowout with the Stillwater establishing the line of scrimmage.
It is still early, though.
It's going to be second down and 5. There's the pitch. I believe that's Robert Earl Johnson, number 31, on the hand on the carry. Let's double check. And it is, and that's going to give Stillwater a first down. Now, the thing that we noticed in our first game today between Oklahoma City and Shawnee, and I know David's now on a headset, so he wouldn't be able to comment, but Oklahoma City got an early touchdown and started forcing turnovers. In fact, they forced 7 Shawnee turnovers today in that 28-0 win. And obviously, turnovers will be a important thing for the Nitro to avoid, to continue to establish some sort of a offensive attack. So first down and 10 after that run by Johnson, 11 yards. Stillwater already at 85 yards of rushing offense so far. And Jeff Tabish sticking with what he was going to tell me during the pregame as he hands off to Jerwin Johnson. Again, Johnson breaking more tackles. That's going to be close to a first down, and that's going to put Stillwater already up to 95 yards of total offense, as they're already on pace for 600-700 yards on the ground so far, Dennis.
Wow.
As Burris with 49 yards, Robert Earl Johnson with 21, Belleville 16, Jerwin Johnson 9. Haven't seen Ingham try a pass yet, which Jeff told us it was going to be important for him to at least establish a little bit of passing games to help build Brandon's confidence, not only for this game, but for the final 2 games of the season against Midwest City and Shawnee. 5:27 remaining here in the first quarter. Handoff up the middle. And that's going to be a short gain for Belleville.
I really haven't seen Stillwater pass a whole lot this season, but I think if they can establish a run like they've been doing, and then go to a pass and do it effectively, they might be a little another step up from where they're at right now.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dennis.
Oh, they're a great team.
Now, the one thing that we noticed last week was that was the first time that Stillwater trailed at any time last week, and it looked really like that was the first that Jeff Tabish maybe wasn't 100% sure of what to do because his team hadn't trailed at any point in the season. We'll get back to that point after this play. Second down and 8, 4:40 remaining in the first quarter. Jerwin Johnson in motion. Ingham looking to throw for the first time. Pass is tipped twice and incomplete. Number 75, that is James Capel, the tight end, incomplete. And it was actually, let's get back to that point real quick, as Stillwater trailed for the first time last week, and it looked almost like because they hadn't trailed all season that they weren't really sure of how to what to do when they were trailing.
Well, once you get a lead, even though if you have the cushion, you have a 10-point, 20-point cushion, you still want to try to establish a pass. What that does is that gives that defensive line and them linebackers, it backs them up a little bit so that you have that cushion. But you still, whether you're up or you're down, you still got to pass a little bit so you can have an effective ball game.
Third down and 8, 4:35 remaining here in the first quarter. Robert Earl Johnson in motion, reverse, and that is snuffed out by the Nitro as Jerwin Johnson gets tackled for a huge loss.
Give me that pin.
John James, number 21. As John James made the As the it's going to be fourth down, and Dennis will go ahead and we'll go ahead and switch pens here. And remind Dennis that the mic is always on, so anything he says can and will be used against him in the court of law of the OMFL. Unfortunately, we don't have a audio booth to be able to mute the mic in between plays. It's going to be fourth down and 17. Meanwhile, Ryan Henderson's going to be on to punt for the first time today. Little Mac is back deep. That's Larry McDonald. And that's going to be a short punt by Henderson. Not really a great punt. Goes out of bounds only at the 44-yard line. That's where Norman's going to take over, and not bad field position. We've got 3:39 remaining in the first quarter. Stillwater still leading 7-0. Back at Crooked Oak High School, Norman taking over after the after that previous stop. Huckabee's pass goes incomplete. Looks like it went right through the hands of Jared Singer, and Huckabee, after completing his first 2 passes tonight, he's now missed on his last 4.
That last stop by the defense was great. Nitro, if they can pick it up here and move the ball and try to get in the red zone, I think they can probably score.
Are you surprised at all that Norman hasn't at least attempted to start trying to get any sort of a run attack between Little Mac and Cote Farley and all the other tailbacks?
You'd think they would since it was early in the ball game, but if their passes are working, then I guess their coaches are going to stick with it.
3:34 remaining in the first quarter. Huckabee's going to throw again for Singer, and that is, I think he caught that. He's got that. If it doesn't work once, try again, and we've got, somebody just threw a punch over there on the line, and we're going to have an ejection. Just saw one of the Stillwater players throw a punch. Dennis, I'm not sure if he saw that, but we had, I think number 5 is what we're being told. Number 5, I think that's Grady Richmond Jr. who threw a punch, and he got hit with a personal foul penalty last week, and Victor Perez got into it, but while they sort that out, the little post-cricker thing, Huckabee's pass, it didn't work, went through Singer's hand, and he liked it, and they just tried it again, and this time it worked. And that's something we've seen Norman have trouble with this season with keeping their cool. Stillwater lost their cool as well. Norman had 3 players kicked out of a game about 2 weeks ago. Let me double check. Yeah, in the Shawnee game 2 weeks ago, they had 3 players kicked out. Last week we thought they had one of their guys kicked out, but it was actually because of it was actually an injury, which unfortunately we don't have a sideline reporter, and Norman also does not keep a coach in the booth, so it's hard for us to get the to keep tabs on the field.
That's terrible. When you get a good play like that, and you have problems with penalties and stuff like that, it really hurts the team a lot.
Now I'm expecting here. I would have sworn I saw one of the Stillwater players during the scuffle. I don't know if David. I don't know if you picked that up, but we saw at least one player throw a punch. But apparently, I guess the officials might not have seen that, as I have not seen anybody thrown out. And nope, I don't see anybody walking out. So we'll have to check the tape when we go back into post. But somebody got away with somebody just got away with a punch. So after all that, it's going to end up being first down and 10 for the Nitro, as Huckabee's now up to 37 yards of passing. That play went for 26 yards. Clock is stopped right now. 3:20 remaining here in the first quarter. As we're looking at we're talking about fashion sense a little earlier. I know Dennis wasn't here, and still waiting for play to resume. I'm guessing that they were going to. I can't tell you, Dennis, if they marked any yardage off on that penalty.
It doesn't really look like they did. It looks like they kind of waved it off and put them where they caught the ball at.
Looks like it's offsetting. So after all that, it's going to be first down at 10 o'clock. Has now started rolling again. We're ticking under 3:15 remaining here in the first quarter. Flag down the play. Now, nonetheless, even though nobody got thrown out of the ball game, the officials are going to have to establish control in this ball game, especially in the next couple of plays in case there's more tempers flaring. Encroachment on Stillwater, and that's going to make it first down and 5 for the Nitro.
Like I said before, penalties, they'll kill your team. I mean, they already got good field position. Then you get a penalty and move them up another 5 yards. You got to stay disciplined.
So it's going to be first down and 5. Stillwater called for encroachment on that last one. Right now, Josh Huckabee 3 out of 7 for 37 yards. As we're under 3 minutes to go here in the first half, Huckabee pump fakes. Looked like he was trying to throw to Singer. He's going to throw it. Nobody home. Got out of the tackle box. Got it past the line of scrimmage. So that will avoid intentional grounding. That will bring up second down. Now we'll check back into the Norman huddle. Lights slowly starting to take effect tonight. Now, Dennis, do you prefer to play during the day when the sun is still out, or do you like it when the sun is down and the lights are on?
To be honest, it really doesn't make any difference to me as long as we're winning.
Well, a couple weeks ago you guys played under the lights against the Gunners.
Yeah, my guys enjoy it, but as far as I'm concerned, as long as we're playing ball, I'm happy.
So it's going to be 2nd and 5. Clock is stopped with 2:44 remaining. Another slant. Pass is incomplete as the Nitro receiver juggled it and then got hit hard by one of the Stillwater players. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 5 with 2:40 to go here in the first quarter.
I think this would have been the time where they needed to start running the ball because they already got the 5 yards on the penalty. They should have ran on the 2nd down, seeing how many yards they can get on that. The passing game, you can do that when you're deep in your own territory. But right now, I think that they need to start trying to establish a running game.
Do you expect to see a run here or another pass?
I'm not really sure.
So it's going to be 3rd down and 5. Huckabee fakes a pass. First run of the day is going to go to Big Mac. And that's Lamont McDonald. And let's see, it's going to be a 3-yard gain, so it's going to bring up 4th down and 2. And I would assume we'll see Norman go for it here down 7-0. Do you agree, Dennis?
I'd have to agree on this one. I would run it. I mean, being in their field position and you got the ball and there's 2 minutes left in the first quarter, you want to move the ball effectively. So another run would be great.
Okay, we're going to take a quick timeout. Norman's taking it, and we'll be right back. 2:10 remaining in the first quarter. Stillwater 7, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Nitro take a timeout, and Dennis Albert joining me here in the booth. You a little surprised to see that they're going to try a field goal?
Actually not. I think if they can get 3 points on the board, that'll give their momentum a little boost, but hopefully they make it.
And they're not even going to get a chance to attempt it as the snap is bobbled. And that's going to be a loss on the play, so Norman loses yardage on that play, and a chance for them to get 3 points on the board. Mr. Albert goes by the boards.
Of course, after the fact, you say, "Hey, I should have ran that."
As that now will hurt their momentum, as Norman had a chance at least to get 3 points on the board, and instead they're going to keep that goose egg on the board. As Stillwater is going to take the field up 7-0. We'll keep it right here. Right now, as we take a look at Stillwater's numbers here, all you need to know is their running offense. 90 yards of rushing so far and a touchdown. Stillwater takes over now, 1st down and 10. Ball will be spotted at the 24-yard line. Handoff up the middle. I think that's Belleville who had it. Belleville with the handoff there. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 8 as the clock continues to run down to 1:42 he left here in the first quarter. So 92 yards of rushing offense so far for Stillwater. Nothing through the air, but so far this game is a if you read a book on how Stillwater plays a game, they've been following that book so far to a T. And David Potter just told me it's not written in Braille, which is good because I don't know. I can't read Braille, and it'd be kind of tough to try to. It's just be a little tough to follow a guidebook in Braille. Meanwhile, let's get back to the ball game as another handoff. I believe that's Terrence Burris, or Robert Earl Johnson, excuse me, with the carry. Picks up 4 yards, going to bring up 3rd down and 4 as we're under a minute left here in the first quarter.
I think if Nitro starts penetrating the line, they might stop him on the run. They might force him to pass. But right now they're not penetrating the line very well.
As the Nitro have had their trouble scoring, they got 11 points last week against Midwest City, although Most of those points came in garbage time after the game had already been decided. The week before, only 3 against Shawnee. Before that, only 2 against Stillwater. And the week before that, they got 13 against the Gunners, but their touchdown came off of a defensive interception. So their offense has just really, really been struggling. Like we mentioned on the onset, 8 points a ball game is all they are scoring. There's a handoff, and that may be another touchdown as Jerwin Johnson is off to the races. 25-20, 15-10-5. Touchdown, Stillwater! Jerwin Johnson with a 70-yard touchdown run. Took it around the outside, turned the speed on, and he was gone.
As we said before, Stillwater doing what they do best, running the ball right off tackles.
That is not what, this is certainly not what Jackie Smith and Robert Dennis and the troops wanted. The Nitro troops want as we have 7 seconds left here in the first quarter. Check. Mic check. Got me now? Okay. Had a little bit of audio difficulties. I'm going to ask David, did you get my touchdown call? Not sure if you got my touchdown caller. Had a little bit of audio difficulties. We apologize for that. Henderson on to attempt the extra point. Kick is up. It is no good. We've got 7 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and our score is Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Greg Sherman, Dennis Albert with you tonight, and you're taking a look there at Jerwin Johnson. 70-yard touchdown run as the Stillwater running offense, 166 yards so far here in the first quarter and 2 touchdowns. Have 7 seconds left here in the first quarter, and so far not much has gone Norman's way outside of a couple of passing plays by Huckabee. And we've got a onside kick, and there's a ball still loose, and I think the Outlaws got it, Mr. Alberts. I think number 2, Orlando Spagner, came up with that.
That is not good for the Nitro. That is really not good for the Nitro.
Are you surprised that the Outlaws decided to run an onside kick, being up already 13-0?
Really surprised. I wouldn't think they would have done that this early in the ball game. But every coach has a different strategy. Maybe they want the ball back so they can do something different.
And Stillwater will get the ball first down and 10 up near midfield. Now the time has expired. Need to double check to see if the clock should have run because the receiving team never touched the ball, although it might have been, could not tell that. I think that might have been touched as soon as it crossed 10 yards by one of the Nitro players. We'll double check before we head off the break, but it is first down, they're signaling. And we need to have the end of the, and I think we're trying to check if we're at the end of the first quarter or not. As still a little bit of a shock there, and that's just the way that really the season's gone for Norman. Anytime when things go bad, they really go bad, and we'll talk more about that on the other side of the break. We have played 15 minutes here at Crooked Oak High School, and our score is Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, ready to start the second quarter. Stillwater with that surprise onside kick takes over right at midfield. Robert Earl Johnson gets the handoff. He's going to fight to get back to the line of scrimmage. Might have gotten there. It's going to bring up second down. Let's take a look at the first quarter numbers so far. Stillwater, all their yards on the ground, 166 on the ground. Burris with 49 yards and a touchdown. Johnson, 72 yards and a touchdown. Belleville with 20. And Robert Earl Johnson with 25. We'll check the Norman numbers so far, and they've primarily been in the air. Huckabee 3 out of 9 for 37 3 out of 9 for 37 yards. A couple of rushing attempts by the Nitro, but they only have 1 yard of rushing. So a couple of clashing offensive styles here. Norman trying it through the air, Stillwater trying it through the ground. Second down as Ingham rolling out to his right, looking to throw, and he's got Robert Earl Johnson open. Nice defensive play as that pass is broken up the last possible second by Aaron Pound, number 4, and likely saved another touchdown.
That's outstanding. That was great coverage from the DBs.
As Robert Earl Johnson actually had a couple of steps on Aaron Powell, and Powell though was able to match him stride for stride, jumped up there and deflected the play right at the absolute perfect time to break that pass up and be an incompletion. Otherwise, Robert Earl Johnson's in for a long touchdown. Would have been a 50-yard touchdown, and what would have seemed like a big enough hole already as it is for Norman would have only gotten deeper and bigger, but it's going to be 3rd down and 10, 14:07 remaining here in the first half. Robert Earl Johnson in motion. Ingham rolls out to his left, looking to throw. Pass is incomplete. As I believe Jess Roberts, 35, was the intended receiver, and for Norman, they're at least able to stop Stillwater, and they go 3 and out after that fake onside kick.
Speaking from experience, I know that keeping your defense out there that long is going to wear them out, and that's probably what Stillwater was thinking with that onside kick.
So basically, try to wear the defense down primarily on the ground, but instead they surprised them with trying to launch the aerial attack.
Well, they had them wore down by running that first series prior, and then they tried to throw the ball. So if they're wore down, they're still trying to come up and contain the quarterback, and you throw it. Their DB should have been out of place, but they weren't.
Henderson back to punt. Little Mac back deep for the punt. High spiraling kick. Little Mac fields it about the 13, crosses the 15, gets hit. He's going to get tackled right at about the 18-yard line. Or see where they mark him down. It looks like about 17-yard lines we're going to mark it, and we have 13:46 remaining in the first half, and the score is Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Nitro taking the ball over for their next possession, trailing 13-0. Ball be 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. Huckabee right now 3 out of 9 for 37 yards. Not all that bad numbers for Huckabee, although he had a roll of about 4 straight incompletions as Huckabee's rolling out the throw deep. He's got Singer out there, and that is incomplete as Singer and the defender Ryan Henderson both had a shot at that ball, but it's another nice defensive play for Henderson. And we've seen a lot of Ryan Henderson this season. He's already returned he's had several interceptions. And just being told right now that Malcolm Kelly just got drafted by the Washington Redskins as the draft is going on today. And somebody else got drafted. And Curtis Lofton goes to Atlanta. As Atlanta is drafting offense today, they went with Matt Ryan with the number 3 pick in the draft. Talked to David Potter earlier today, and I told David I was waiting for my name to be called in the draft, and so far, as they're getting late in the second round, still haven't heard my name yet. David said that there's still hope. 2nd down, pass complete. I believe that's to Perez, number 3, or that might be Farley, number 5.
That was an outstanding completion by Norman. They needed that. They need that 1st down so they can keep on going.
And that was by Perez, in fact.
I'm hoping to see them run the ball a little bit. They do that really well, and I want to kind of see what they got.
Now, I didn't get much of a chance to talk to Jackie Smith during pregame today, as they had to take care of some injuries and stuff. But they were trying to tell us they were trying to keep with most of their game plan from the first meeting against Stillwater, and that was continue to roll the line of scrimmage. And Dennis, I know you'd be a little surprised to hear this, but Jeff Tabish told me that he does not match up well with Norman, and that's part of the reason why they struggled to beat him in the first game. But so far they've matched up well, as there's a handoff on 2nd down up to the 34-yard line. And Dennis, how tough is it when you play a team that you don't match up well with, whether it's a team that's better than you or a team that's below you in the standings?
You got to watch a lot of film on a team that you don't match up well with and see what they give you and take advantage of it. And I think that's what Norman's trying to do here. They're throwing the ball a lot, and they think that but before they done a real good job of throwing the ball on Stillwater. So hopefully it'll work out for them today. But right now they're moving it a little bit, but they're just not moving it effectively.
Ball's up to the 30, right up to the 35-yard line. We'll call that. That's 2nd down and 7. Another handoff to Big Mac, as it looks like Norman's finally starting to get the run going. Big Mac breaking tackle. He's up to the 45-yard line.
That's what you got to see. That's what you got to see. You got to see that run. You got to see them big guys make holes.
Do you think maybe that the Norman's doing the opposite of what you would normally do with establishing the run and then throwing, that maybe they're trying to establish the pass and then run?
I think they're going back to what they know.
As Big Mac is up to 17 yards of rushing so far. Norman with 15 as a team, as Farley has 1 carry for -2 yards. Seeing personnel shuffling off the field for Stillwater. Murphy Braden, 44, comes off. As we're set for a beautiful sunset. Actually, we see some clouds rolling in. We had heard there was an outside chance of a stray shower late today, hoping that it's going to hold off until the end of the ball game. Huckabee rolling out to his left, now rolling out to his right. He's way behind the line of scrimmage, looking to throw, and that pass is incomplete. Does not make it back to the line of scrimmage. The officials checking to see if he was outside of the tackle box.
I believe he was on that play.
It's going to be a discussion between Ken Stewart and his linesman. That is Kumasi Ford, as we've mentioned all throughout the season. Kumasi with the best name in all of Oklahoma high school football. And Dennis, Dennis was mentioning something about Kumasi. Were you mentioning something about Kumasi, Dennis?
Yeah, I played football with him in high school.
Really? Where is that at?
At Midwest City.
At Midwest City. So, what's it like being able? Are you able to get some extra calls from Kumasi since you guys know each other?
Negative.
As it's going to be 2nd down and 10 after that incompletion. Ball's going to be brought up to the 48-yard line.
He was an outstanding quarterback, though. I caught a couple passes from him, so I know that from firsthand.
As we'll give you the rest of the crew tonight. Ken Stewart, the referee. Jermaine Millhouse, the umpire. Kumasi's our line judge. I actually have a new line, or Kumasi's the head linesman. Now we have a new line judge, Mr. Amos. Don't have a first name for him. First week for him to be here. And John Livingston back there, back deep. As the sun is setting, it's going to be a pretty nice sunset. Like we said, hopefully the rain will hold off until long after we're done. It's going to be 3rd down and 7 with 10:24 remaining here until halftime. Quick pass, jump ball. It is incomplete. There is contact there, but no flag on the play as Singer was the intended receiver. Number 20, Chris Baca, defended the play.
Singer's a really good wide receiver. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he can catch the ball. But what their quarterback's going to have to do is start throwing them line drives to him because he's already covered over the top.
So it's going to be 3 and out now. It's going to be interesting here to see what Jackie Smith decides to do. It's 4th down and 7, potentially down 13-0. Looks like they're going to go for it. This is a huge risk as they could, if they don't get the first down here, they're going to give Stillwater excellent field position. As he's got the Stillwater rushing 2 guys deep. Huckabee rolling out to his right. He's trying to find Aaron Powell. He's throwing for him in a double coverage. Bad throw. Incomplete, almost intercepted there by number 5. That is Grady Richmond Jr. And actually, it wasn't that bad that he dropped it because that saves Stillwater about 30 yards of offense, and that's going to give the Outlaws the ball back on downs. And we're going to take a timeout here at Crooked Oak High School. 10-10 remaining until halftime, and the score is Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Stillwater once again with good field position, taking over inside of Norman territory, the 48-yard line. Ingham with the pitch. That's a Jerwin Johnson bouncing outside. Runs into Kyle Belleville, his own player. That's actually going to Belleville get the assist on that tackle. It'll be a 3-yard gain for Stillwater as the Stillwater's slowly creeping up towards 200 yards of rushing, and we still have a lot of time remaining here until halftime.
It looks like Stillwater's probably trying to go with a bunch set with the trips on the right side so they can open up the run a little bit, then pass, and that run right there was a pretty good run for them. But we'll see if they go to the air right here.
Well, Dennis is predicting going to the air. We'll see if Dennis is correct. It's going to be 2nd down and 7. Ball right at the 45-yard line. 3 receivers on the far side. Number 11, Richard Williams on the near side. Penalty flags on the play as the handoff goes nowhere up to midfield, but I believe Norman may have been in the neutral zone early. And Ken Stewart says yes, they were, and so that's going to give Stillwater 5 yards less to have to get for the first down. So it's going to be 2nd down and 2 with 9:20 remaining until halftime. Go ahead, Dennis.
Like I said earlier in the ball game, those penalties, those really hurt your team if you cannot be disciplined on the side, and you're getting false starts and stuff like that. That gives them that extra momentum. Plus, they get to redo the down.
So here we go, 2nd down and 2. Ball's going to be placed at the 41-yard line. Need to get to about the 38, 39. We'll call it the 38's where they're going to have to get for the first down. As clock resumes ticking down, 9:17. Pitch to Jerwin Johnson. Johnson rolling, gets the first down a lot more. 35, 30, still going. He's finally brought down to 26-yard line, but once again, another first down for the Outlaws via the ground. Johnson now 5 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown, 183 yards rushing so far for Stillwater. And their rushing offense, which was pretty much held in check actually last week against the Gunners, is back to its normal run.
Well, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it, right?
But at the same time, it's, you know, Stillwater's probably a little bit more motivated this week because of what happened last week. They don't want to come out and flop it. They don't want to come out and flop again like they did last week when Jeff Tabish admitted after the game. He said, "Greg, we got our butts kicked." Ingham looking to throw. He's got Robert Earl Johnson there, and that pass is intercepted. Johnson, there was some contact, no penalty flag on the play. Aaron Powell came away with the interception. And it looked like Robert Earl Johnson got bumped into. I don't know if maybe the back judge was signaling that pass was uncatchable. But the Nitro will take over on downs, and let's see if that gives the Nitro the spark they've been really needing tonight. And we're going to keep it right here. We're listening to Eric Clapton, the sounds of Layla. Dennis, you want to hum a couple of tunes?
I don't sing.
You don't sing, you just coach.
Mm-hmm.
So now, he sings, doesn't sing, he screams. Now, Dennis, did it look like the receiver, even though he was knocked down, there's no flag thrown because the pass was uncatchable?
Well, it looked kind of like he looked behind him and the guy had stopped. So yeah, the pass was thrown behind him. So that's probably why the flag wasn't thrown.
So Josh Huckabee's going to come back out now. And there's a run up the middle. That'll get Norman out of the shadow of their own end zone. Victor Perez with the run, and that will be, I believe that should be enough to give him a first down as Victor Perez got the... So Perez is going to pick up, I believe, 11 yards on the play. Let's see where they mark it. A little hard to see some of the angles around here because you're looking at a diagonal. And nope, they're going to give him... Yep, they're going to wait for the first for the guy with the yard marker to come down. Then they're going to move the chains. Looked like he had the first down all the way.
I think that was really good for the Nitro. I'd like to see them keep going with the run because it is effective for them. And they do it really well. So hopefully they stay with it and then go to the pass.
And Nitro looking like they're starting to settle down after the bad start when they fell down 13-0. Perez trying to bounce the outside. He does have speed. 30. 35's got a block. Tackled at about the 41-yard line. That will be more than enough for a first down as Perez picks up 23 on the game. And my only real question is, why didn't Norman start this early in the ball game?
I'm sure they watched film and they'd seen something that they probably could take advantage of, and they started doing that. Now they have to go back to their ground game because what they do best, you want to start with something that you do well, and if it doesn't work, then you go to the pass.
Perez now 3 carries, 38 yards. Says Norman, despite being down 13-0, their offense is moving pretty well. They're already up over 100 yards of total offense here. Right now at 104 with 6:40 remaining here until halftime. Huckabee hands off. That is to Perez again. Perez trying to bounce to the outside. It's going to be Perez with a 5-yard carry, and so far, usually it's Big Mac who's the stud runner for the Nitro, but so far tonight it's been Victor Perez as he's right at 11 yards a carry so far tonight. As we have a stoppage in play, it looks like we have a number 10 is hobbling off the field. That's the receiver / punter Jared Singer. It looked like he got rolled up on as Jackie Smith comes out to look at him. And as we get down to the grind at the end of the season, almost every team is dealing with some sort of injuries, aches, and pains, and it's coming down to who's able to survive the injury bug the best that might come out on top.
Well, we've had our fair share, that's for sure, and this week off that we've had, it's been a godsend for us.
What's the status of Jeff Jackson, your kicker / backup quarterback?
I think he'll be out for another week. He might come back. He tried to practice a little bit, but he was still kind of sore, so we'll see.
It's be 2nd down and 5, 6 minutes remaining here until halftime. Big Mac takes the handoff, trying to bounce out to the outside. Not going to make it. He's going to be tackled for a loss. Back to the 45, loss of 1 on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 6, and just got past the note here for you. Dennis Curtis Lofton drafted 37th to Atlanta. Malcolm Kelly, number 51, to Washington.
Oh.
As we're getting late into the day in the draft they're changing the way they're doing it this year. Instead of having 3 rounds on the first day, it's only 2, and instead of having 4 hours, 15 minutes to make a pick, now you're only down to 10, and the second round's down from 10 to 7, so that should help cut down on the long time it takes for the first round to go. And I believe the first round took about 3.5 hours today, after it took over 6 hours last year. You could watch 2 football games in the time it takes to watch the 1 round of the NFL draft. There's the handoff to Farley, bounce to the outside. He's going to cross. That's going to be enough for a first down as he crosses into Stillwater territory, the 47. We're starting to notice that Norman's getting bunches of yards on the ground, and they're starting to get some holes opening up on the in the secondary as well.
That's another good run for them. I think if they stick with this and then go to the pass, they'll be great. They got to look at the clock, though. They got to start watching that clock management. I know they got. I haven't seen them get a timeout yet, so to put one on the board and keep it close, they're going to have to keep running until they get in the red zone.
Norman still has plenty of time. 4:45 remaining in the first half. Maybe trying to pull their own little version of Stillwater, rush down the field, or take a nice long drive down the field, keep Stillwater off the field, and more importantly, keep their defense off the field and try to drive a touchdown. They're only down by 13. Handoff to Big Mac again, crosses the 45 down to the 40, about the 42-yard line for a gain of 5 on the play. And they're going to mark him about 4-yard gain is what we'll go with here. And obviously, it's a little tough to see on the field without the hash marks to be able to get the exact yardage. So we're always guessing about 3, 4, or 5 yards. As Norman breaks the huddle here, time is going. Game is moving pretty fast as we're already down inside of 4 minutes remaining until halftime. And for those of you who missed it earlier, our earlier game today featured Oklahoma City with an easy 28-0 win over Shawnee. They're 6-1 on the season and most likely on their way to the number 1 seed. Huckabee under pressure, looking to throw. Pass is complete. And then it's dropped. Looks like they're going to signal incomplete. As 85, Josh Sparks had it, lost it, and dropped it. But nice move by Huckabee to get out of danger as Orlando Spagner had the pressure. But Huckabee able to get out of the way and still made a pretty good throw. As the clock is down to, we're down to 3:28 here in the first half. So far, Norman up to 120 yards of total offense, 69 on the ground, 51 in the air. Perez with 43 on the ground, and Big Mac with 16. And Norman's going to use a timeout here. We'll take it with them. We have 3:28 remaining until halftime, and our score is still Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, taking a look at the Norman huddle, and Dennis Albert so far today has really gone scripted as Oklahoma City blew out Shawnee, and outside of this drive, Norman has really just not been able to get a lot going against Stillwater.
Well, like I was saying earlier, a lot of these teams that once they get down, it's really hard to play catch up, and I haven't really seen that this year. Even us, we haven't had a chance to play catch up. We've had a lot of chance to play catch up, we just haven't done it. And if they stick to their run and pass effectively like they have, I think they could probably be in this ball game.
So it's 3rd down and 7, critical drive here for Norman as he sensed they've probably got to at least get a field goal if they can't get a touchdown, at least get that goose egg off the board. Need to get to the 36 for a first down. Big Mac's going to take the handoff, plows his way through a couple of Stillwater players down to the 39-yard line. It's going to bring up 4th down and 2. And Dennis, if you're in this situation, what do? Punt, field goal, or go for it? And actually, we won't even get a chance to ask you, Dennis, as they're going with a hurry up, and Jeff Tabish, we'll get a shot of Tabish heading out on the field. Spotted that as it looked like Norman was trying to catch Stillwater sleeping, Dennis.
Well, this is an opportunity they need to take. I mean, you got 4th down and 2 yards. You really need to take this opportunity to get the first down because you got 3:08 in the first half and you haven't had any points on the board. If you miss it, you still give them bad field position. If you try to go for a field goal and you don't make it, you could have went for that last play.
So what do you expect we'll see? You see Stillwater's defense. Let's take a look at the we'll go ahead and pan over to the Norman huddle. So Dennis, if you were coaching right now, what would you call right now?
I would probably call a run, but I'd hit them where I've been hitting them hard the whole game, and that's right now it's been on their left side. So if you hit them hard there, you might get those extra 2 yards. A little misdirection might not hurt either.
Well, they'll need those 2 yards as it's 4th down and 2. Nice job by Jeff Tabish recognizing the hurry up as Norman trying to catch Stillwater asleep. Jackie Smith, Robert Dennis trying to find any way to get an advantage against the Outlaws. 4th down and 2. Need to get to the 36 to keep the drive going. 3 backs in the backfield. Handoff to the big guy, Big Mac, and he is not going to get there, not anywhere near there. As we zoom in on the Stillwater defense, number 5, that's Grady Richmond Jr. with the tackle, and that might be your big momentum killer there for Norman as they're going to walk away with nothing. We have 2:51 remaining until halftime. Stillwater still leading it 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Stillwater taking over after Norman turns it over on downs. Ball's at the 40-yard line. 2:51 remaining until halftime. Chance for the Outlaws to get more points on the board heading to the locker room. As Brandon Ingham calling the signals, rolling out to his right, looking to throw. He's got Robert Earl Johnson there, but Johnson's not able to pick up the ball. Incomplete. It's going to bring up 2nd down now. Robert, you were telling us, or Dennis, excuse me, you're talking about the what Norman ran in that last play. What were you telling us?
Whenever a coach calls a timeout like that, you know he's going to stack the box and he's going to try to stop the run, whether it's up the gut or whatever. If they were to boot their quarterback out, he's been getting 3 to 5 yards every time he runs the ball. So I would have booted my quarterback out, whether I got it or not. I mean, you still tried, and you keep those guys inside their box.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 10 after the incompletion. 2:46 remaining until halftime. There's the pitch to Jerwin Johnson. Already has 1 touchdown today. 40, 45 to the 50. And he's going to get a gain of 12, and that will move the sticks as Stillwater gets another 1st down. And Stillwater now 194 yards of rushing offense so far tonight.
Norman has to make a really good stop here. I don't know how many timeouts they got. I think they still have 3. I haven't seen them call one yet. But if they make a really good stop, get a timeout. Oh, they have 2 timeouts. Well, if they get a really good stop and get a timeout on the 4th down, get that punt, they might be able to drive.
Well, this will be the final snap before the 2-minute warning. Norman has, I believe, 2 timeouts left, or they may only have 1. Johnson gets hit hard in the backfield by Big Mac. We're at the 2-minute warning, but we do have a penalty flag on the play. Let's check the marker before we go to our break. As Brandon Ingham so far 0 for 5 tonight with an interception. And we saw last week when Stillwater had trouble with the passing offense, they weren't able to come back against the Gunners. And for them, thankfully, they are in the lead. And we got a chop block against the Outlaws. So that's going to back them up. We are at the 2-minute warning. Stillwater still leading 13-0. And we are back here at Crooked Oak High School. That chop block penalty was actually declined by Norman. So it's going to be 2nd down and 13. High snap. Burris takes the pitch. Burris breaking tackles. 40, 35. And he loses the ball. That's going to... Let's see if he was down. Waiting to see the... We're going to have a conference here. I couldn't tell if he was down. And no, they're going to give the ball to Norman on a turnover. So Burris gets within a tackle or 2 of the end zone. Instead, he fumbles the ball. And Norman once again with a chance to make a statement before the half. And we've got a late penalty flag on the play, and it's going to be holding against Stillwater, so that'll be declined. That penalty will be declined, and Norman's going to get the ball back 1st down and 10. As the fumble there, as Trey Burris with the fumble there. Burris with a touchdown tonight and a fumble will get the official signal. So Norman's got the ball with 1:46 to go here in the first half. And Dennis, what do you expect to see Norman trying now on this drive?
I think they're going to try to pass. They can't run. It's 1 minute and 46 seconds left on the clock. They have to go downfield. They have to put in their 2-minute offense and see if they can get the ball moving.
Norman did get the ball moving on that last drive. And actually with that carry before the fumble, Stillwater got up and over 200 yards of rushing offense tonight. As Norman, we're going to take a look back now, get their stats back up. As so far, Huckabee's 4 out of 15, 51 yards. As Norman with, I believe, 2 timeouts remaining, maybe only 1 left. There's a handoff up the middle. Perez trying to bounce to the outside, not going to get there. Perez now with 5 carries, 44 yards. Farley with 3 carries, 10 yards. Now, Big Mac has 21 yards of rushing, and I believe that's on 18 carries, if I'm not mistaken, or 6 carries, if I'm not mistaken. As Norman does have 126 yards of rushing offense. Norman's going to take a timeout with 91 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Norman trying to get on the board, trailing 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Norman down to 1 timeout remaining in the first half. It's going to be 2nd and 9 with 91 seconds remaining here. Trying to just get anything established, trying to get a field goal or anything going. As Jack Dingus, the Shawnee head coach, is still here. Shawnee will take on Norman next week. Quick throw pass is incomplete. Overshoots his receiver. Now, we had a chance to look at the that mysterious fumble on the last Stillwater series, and we've got a before we talk about that, we've got an injury on the far side. I can't tell if that's the quarterback who got hit. It is Josh Huckabee, who missed last week's game with a bad back, got hit in the backfield. But while we have a moment, Dennis, you say that was not a fumble on the Stillwater side.
It did not look like a fumble. When he was going down, it looked like his knee touched, but the guy stripped the ball out. On the other hand, he should have went down anyway instead of trying to break those tackles. He didn't need a touchdown. They just need a good field position. They still have the ball.
So Dennis saying it was a bang play. It looked like he was pretty close to being down, and that if Norman's able to somehow drive down and get a touchdown, that would be one of those things where you have a potential 14-point swing. Quick third down slant pass is incomplete. It's almost intercepted as Jared Singer had it bounce off his hands, and Stillwater had a chance to intercept it. Now it's going to be 4th down and 9, so that phantom or so-called phantom fumble call won't cost the Outlaws anything, and so Norman goes 3 and out, and Stillwater still with a chance now to get more points on the board. As we've noticed a lot this season that Stillwater will score 13, 14 points in the first quarter, and they'll bog down.
Oh yeah, I think that goes back to the running game. If Norman's defense can hold them to the rest of the half, I mean that'll work to their advantage. But right now, it hadn't been looking like it's been working that way.
Matt Taylor going to get the punt. Singer bobbles it. That's Singer trying to get a first down. He's got some running room. Makes a couple of guys miss, but he's still going to be well short of the first down. There's a fumble on the play. It won't matter who recovered it, as Stillwater's going to get the ball on downs, and that is another momentum killer for the Norman Nitro, as Stillwater's going to get a short field, and anytime you give them one of those short fields, Dennis, usually they're going to get a touchdown on you.
Well, we'll see if they run or pass on this. They got a minute 11 seconds left. I don't know. I know they want another touchdown, but I don't know if they want to go back into the locker room and regroup.
As Jeff Tavish's defense has played pretty well so far, keeping Stillwater off the board, and so far we already had one shutout today, and it's looking like we're going to have another game where it gets halfway to a shutout here at the half, unless Norman's somehow able to make something happen. 13-0 Stillwater with the lead. Couple of early touchdowns on a couple of touchdown runs, one by Burris, the other one by Jerwin Johnson. Handoff by Burris. Looked like he hopped over the line, but it's going to be no gain on the play as we have a minute remaining in the first half. Don't expect this. I don't know if Stillwater will try to hurry up, as they do have an outstanding field goal kicker in Ryan Henderson.
I think they'll probably go for another 2 more runs and stop the clock pretty short, and then try to kick a field goal.
Because the clock is ticking. Ball is going to be spotted at the 30-yard line, pretty much into Ryan Henderson's field goal range already. It's be a 47-yard field goal attempt if it's no good. 2nd down and 10, 30 seconds remaining. And we've got movement before the play. Stillwater saying Norman jumped into the neutral zone, and Norman saying that Stillwater false started. Let's get the official call. Right now we have 25 seconds left in the first half, so Stillwater not rushing. It looks like they may just try to get some more yards and then settle for a Ryan Henderson field goal attempt. It's going to be encroachment against Norman, so that's going to move the ball down to the 25-yard line, getting the Outlaws closer and closer and deeper inside of Henderson's field goal range.
This would be a great time right here to run the ball one more time and then try to kick it.
So you don't expect to see Stillwater try to get a touchdown, but just try to get one more run and then try to milk the clock and get out of here with a last-second field goal attempt?
That would be the smart thing to do.
And that's what they'll do. Belleville gets tackled for a 4-yard loss, and let's see what Stillwater decides to do here. They're going to use a timeout. Got 19 seconds remaining here until halftime with the Score is still 13-0. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with the conclusion of the first half right after this. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Stillwater breaking the huddle. That was their last timeout, so with 14 seconds to go, 3rd down and 5, they're either going to have to get an incomplete pass or some play that stops the clock. Otherwise, the clock will keep going. Stillwater may not even get a chance to get a field goal attempt off. So, Dennis, if you're a 3rd and 5 with no timeouts left here in this position late in the half, what would you call?
Well, any fade route to the end zone. That's what they got to do.
See if they decide to go with that fade route. And Burris is going to throw a halfback pass, and that is incomplete. Robert Earl Johnson not able to catch up to that one, and Burris has had his troubles throwing this season. That's about the 10th or 11th time we've seen him try a halfback pass. I think I saw it work once earlier in the season for a touchdown, but it hasn't worked at all since then. So 9 seconds left. We'll see Ryan Henderson try a field goal attempt. It's going to be, let's see where that ball is going to be spotted at. I believe it's going to be spotted at the 25, so that'll be a 42-yard field goal attempt. Excuse me, ball's at the 30, beg your pardon. 47-yard field goal attempt for Henderson. Norman's got 2 guys back deep in case it's missed. Kick is up. It is going to be no good. Let's see if Norman's going to bring it out. Then the Outlaws better realize that is a live ball. Aaron Powell trying to get something going. Got penalty flags on the players. A block in the back. Half will end as Aaron Powell brought it back to about the 34-yard line. Let's check the penalty flag on the players. I believe that's going to be a block in the back against Norman. If that is, that should be the end of the half. Now, if that penalty happened against Norman after the field goal miss, the half would be extended by 1 play. But both teams are leaving the field. Let's double check to make sure that that the half is over before we leave with them. As we'll follow take a look at. And we've got some words being exchanged by one of the, or something's going on at midfield. We got some words being exchanged here at midfield here as both teams are leaving the field simultaneously. You can't see it here, but number 5, way down in the corner, Grady Richmond Jr., who already, I think, threw a punch at somebody, already has been exchanging some words. Both teams are having words as they're going to the locker room. And we'll stay with this for just a second here. The half will end as the half ends. So we've played 1 half here at Crooked Oak High School, and our score is Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, nightfall has fallen here on week 8 of the OMFL. Our second game is at the half with Stillwater leading 13-0. And joined here in the booth, as always, I'm Greg Sherman, along with Midwest City head coach Dennis Albert joining us for the week. And so far, Stillwater up 13-0, 204 yards rushing on the ground. Is this basically what you were expecting?
Not really. I thought they'd have a lot more points on the board, but of course, Nitro came out. They can make this game a lot closer than it is because they didn't start with their running game, which they probably should have. They probably would have gotten the red zone quite a bit of times because they had good field position. But these passes they're doing, they're trying to go for those fades on the outside, and they're double covered half the time. It worked a couple times, but now it's just, hopefully they're going in a locker room to start regrouping.
Now, hopefully we can take a look at some of the first half highlights. And as we roll them so far, no real highlights for Norman. So far, 2 touchdowns today, as Terrence Burris has 66 yards of rushing on offense, including a 28-yard touchdown run. That was the first touchdown of the game. And then late in the first quarter, Jerwin Johnson, 70-yard touchdown run, as he's already at 97 yards of rushing offense here in the first half. And as we come out of the highlights, let's take a look at those first half numbers. So far, Shawnee with 51 yards of passing offense, 79 on the ground for a total of 130. Stillwater with no passing yards, as Brandon Ingham is 0 for 5 with an interception. They do have a whopping 204 on the ground, and so they're leading the ground game, the yards so far today in the first half, 204 to 130. Now, as we come back on the camera, Dennis, what are the keys? How is Norman going to get back in this game?
Well, I think they get the ball back in the second half. So if they get the ball back and they start sticking with the run and they start moving the ball effectively like they did in that second quarter, then they're going to be pretty good. It's 13-0. The game's not over. They still got another half. They just got to stop Stillwater a couple drives and get that ball back and make it a tie ball game.
Do you tell your troops, if you're Jackie Smith, that this is what Stillwater loves to do, score a couple early touchdowns and then grind the ball?
Oh, of course, because they're going to run the ball down. I mean, they're going to run the clock out because they run the ball a lot. That's why this first half went so fast. If Norman would have done it, like I said, and they're really good at it. I don't know why they went to the pass, but if they stick with the run, Coach Jackie Smith, he's a good coach. I'm sure he's taking notes, and when they come back out here, I think it's going to be a better half.
Well, hopefully we'll have a better half in the second half. So far, a couple of blowout halves. Oklahoma City beat Shawnee 28-0 earlier today. But in this game right now, Bedlam Park 2, Stillwater not having a lot of trouble with Norman so far. They lead at 13-0, and we'll be back with the second half of tonight's game right after this. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, ready to start the third quarter of the ball game as Stillwater kicking off to start the second half. And I've been handed a note that Jackie Smith, the coach of Norman, has been thrown out of the ball game. Not sure if it was related to that scuffle at the end of the first half when we had a close melee out of there. Greg Sherman joined by Midwest City head coach Dennis Albert as the Forts are off this week. There's the kickoff. It's going to go to Perez at the 15, 20, 25, 30, trying to get a run going, 35, 40. Still going. We got a penalty flag on the play, and let's check the marker. And while we have a second, we'll look at the first half stats quickly. Norman had 130 yards of offense, 51 on the ground, 79 in the air. Stillwater had 204 in the first half, all of that on the ground. Scoring summary, we'll go through that real quick. We have another fight on the field. We'll go get that in a second. And this game is just boiled over to a if they don't get something going on here, Dennis, we saw this at the end of the first half, we're going to have a big problem by the time this game is over.
It may not even get that far.
Well, we saw, if you remember, I don't know if you remember that, Dennis, but a few weeks ago we had a near melee after a hard hit between Shawnee and Stillwater in a night game. And not sure if the Outlaws are just losing their cool or if it's just a Norman team that realizes that their season's going down the drain and just trying to maybe make a la Custer's Last Stand, for example. And we have an ejection. We're going to see who got thrown out of the ball game. I don't know, Dennis, if you saw who got thrown out.
I'm not sure. It looked like number 5 on the Outlaws team.
Is it number 5? Being told number 5 or number 50, Danny? 50? Zach Lloyd, number 50 of Norman, we are being told has been thrown out of the ball game.
Actually, that's correction. Michael Lazure.
Lazure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I've got Lazure, number 37 on my roll. Let me check. Okay, 37 we have listed as Michael Lazure, and I believe we'll check on that. We'll make sure who that is, but we've got 37 as Lazure. Zach Lloyd is number 50. And Norman is running out of players here. They have 11 on the field. This is looking almost like a one of those teams you'd have in the 2A or single A in high school football. As Norman is just running out, and realistically, their playoff chances are just about dead unless they're able to beat Shawnee next week, which, I can tell you this much, Jack Dingus will have his troops fired up. So, number 50, Zach Lloyd, has been ejected out of the ball game. We'll wait for Christy Smith to get back up here and give us confirmation if that is indeed the...
I don't believe she's coming back.
And we're going to get that sorted out here, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, and this game is really disintegrating real fast. There's a couple of police cars coming in. We've had an ejection. Zach Lloyd, number 50, is out of the ball game. And if you look down at the, we'll get a shot real fast of, you can see Commissioner Chris Dodson is down there on the field with one of our security guards, and there's another police going on. And while we try to sort all this out, let's get back to the game here. We do have a football game going on, as there's a handoff as Norman takes over, and there's a hard hit on the sidelines. As we couldn't quite see what happened here, but Dennis, let me ask you this: if you're in a situation like this as a head coach and you're seeing a game falling apart, how do you get your guys to recompose themselves?
Well, you always got to be professional no matter what you're doing, and even if there's some things going the way that you don't want them to go, you still got to stand up and be professional. And you can talk about this stuff after the game is over. But right now, your team is looking at you to be a leader, and you got to lead.
And and trying to figure out. We're just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Danny Force, our statistician, is pointing out somebody in the stands wearing some boxers or something. But meanwhile, let's get back to the. Something is going on at the far side of the field. We just had an incompletion by Matt Taylor. Just missed a interception. I know David Potter's trying to shoot the game as well. But right now we just have a odd situation breaking out here with. We have a football game that's still trying to go on. We have players ejected. We've got the OKPD out here, and things are just becoming really. Things are going really downhill, and we're up here in the press box away from everything. And Dennis, I don't know if anybody ever told you, but as soon as you put the headset on, you're automatically my bodyguard. And we've got a timeout in the field. Let's take it with them. 13:47 remaining in the third quarter, and it's Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, still trying to regain our composure here as it's 13-0 Stillwater with the lead. And for those of you who were not with us here, we had a near melee, a big scuffle during the at the end of the first half as both teams were leaving for the locker rooms. As it's first down as Big Mac takes a hard hit and looked like he said a couple of words to Grady Richmond Jr., but then they tapped each other on the helmets, so it looks like they're trying to keep stuff together. But for those of you who were not with us, we had some words exchanged on the way to the locker room between the two teams, and we've had a player ejected earlier after the opening kickoff here in the third quarter, and right now just trying to regain composure. Hopefully everybody's going to get themselves back all lined up, and meanwhile we're going to get back to the ball game. It's first down and 10. There's another handoff. I think Big Mac had the handoff again, and some more words being scuffled there. Now, for those of you who maybe don't remember it, a couple of weeks ago when we had a night game, it was Stillwater against Shawnee, and we had a Mario Cruz was trying to run back a kickoff after a Stillwater score. Got hit hard out of bounds. It was a late hit. It got flagged. Cruz turned right around and punched one of the Outlaw players, and we had a near melee there. But things had settled down really in the league outside of that, although we had a couple of ejections in the Norman-Shawnee game a few weeks ago. And sometimes it just happens here. All these guys are grown adults, sometimes acting just like children. Second down and 6. Handoff to Perez. 25. Perez trying to break a tackle up to the 29-yard line. It's going to be close to a first down. It's going to bring up a third down and short, I believe.
Looked like he got it.
And Dennis thinks that he's got it. And yep, 7-yard gain. That means they'll give it to him. As we're 3 minutes here into the third quarter here. As we've been stuck at 13-0 for a while, Stillwater got a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter, and really the game is bogged down just like Stillwater loves it. Score 2 touchdowns early and then try to play a lot of defense. It's going to be first down and 10. Huckabee still under center, handing off to Perez again. Perez is going to be stopped as he crosses the 30 to about the 32. And actually, that's going to be Cody Farley. As that'll bring up a third down and 7 as he lost a yard. And we've got the coming up now, third down and 7. I think Dennis may have fallen asleep here as the game is really, really bogged down. Let me smack Dennis, wake him up. There's a handoff there to Farley again. Farley's not going to gain much on the play, and that's going to be... Can't tell if that's going to be third down or fourth down. Now the chains say third down.
I believe that is third down.
Yep, and that is third down. Well, Dennis, you're awake. I thought we lost you there. I thought you took some NyQuil and we lost you there.
I was trying to see what the game was bringing along. Their running game is starting to pick up. They're moving the ball a little bit. They haven't passed much in this quarter, but we'll see. It's a third down. They need the first down here. Let's see what they do.
So it's going to bring up third down and 7. Norman trying to find a way to get a first down to keep their drive going. Huckabee rolling out to his right, looking to throw. He's, I think, trying to find Powell. He's going to take off and run. Gets hit hard at the 35-yard line. It's going to be a gain of about 3, but that's going to bring up a 4th down. We'll zoom in. Let's zoom in on the far sideline. Can't tell if there's somebody down. And somebody is down. Can't tell if Huckabee is shaken up.
Huckabee got up and walked away. It's number 63 is the one that came up.
Being told 63 for Stillwater, David.
Yes, he's down now on the field.
Charles Citizen is number 63.
About grabbing his arm.
And we'll check on that injury when we come back. 9:56 left in the third quarter. Stillwater still up 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, taking a look as Charles Citizen, the injured player, walking off on his own power with the assistance of some of the coaching staff of Stillwater. As that was a really hard hit down on the far sideline. As Huckabee got hit hard, but it was Citizen who came up limping.
I think he was underneath the pile. That's why he got hurt.
And that is definitely smash mouth football.
They look like they're going to go for it on 4. They might run their quarterback sneak.
Well, 4th down and 4. And we've got a new quarterback in. That's Little Mac looking to throw. Now he's going to run. Still rolling. Still trying to make something. Stays behind line of scrimmage. Throws, and he throws it incomplete. After all that running, he threw a pass that was right at the Stillwater player. That was 33 for the Outlaws. That's Langston Moore, who was right there. So now Norman taking more and more chances as we get farther in the ball game, and that's going to be a turnover on downs. Dennis, do you agree with that decision?
I don't. I really don't. You still got a lot of time in this ball game, and you're only down 13 points. That's 2 touchdowns, and you can probably put this game either away or get close enough to where it goes into overtime. But making decisions like that this early in the ball game, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Now, another fact real fast while we have a moment. Jackie Smith, that's going to be the second time that he has been tossed from a game. He was tossed earlier this season before the new ejection rule was in. It said you had to leave the stadium. So we may have seen Jackie Smith for the last time this season. As Norman wraps up next week, I'm assuming that the commissioner, Chris Dotson, because that's 2 ejections, Jackie Smith will be suspended next week, which means Robert Dennis will have to take over the coaching duties. And if Norman loses to Shawnee next week, that will be it for them, as Shawnee and Midwest City would get in.
Well, I believe the rule is if a player gets ejected twice, he's out for the season. So if a coach gets ejected twice, I believe that same rule applies.
And we'll see if that happens. 1st down and 10. Stillwater takes over the 37-yard line. Handoff up the middle to Burris. Picks up 1 yard on the play. That's going to bring up a 2nd down. Couldn't get that word out of my mouth.
Hey, if you notice that Norman's defense is stopping them a little bit. They haven't been Outlaws haven't been as effective as they have been at the beginning of the game. This might be a momentum breaker for them, but Norman's offense has got to get the ball rolling.
As we take a look, as I'm going to look through some of the past scores, Stillwater scored 13 early against Midwest City in the first quarter, won by 7. Scored 14 against Oklahoma City in the first quarter of their first meeting. They ended up scoring 13 more in the fourth quarter to win that one, as Terrence Burris gets to the 30-yard line. And what I'm trying to get at is that Stillwater has that habit of scoring 13 or 14 points in the first quarter and then bogging down. As it's Stillwater, they had 14 against Oklahoma City in the first quarter of their first meeting. Then they got 13 points in the fourth quarter to win that one. Against Shawnee, they actually got shut out in the second, or they scored only 6 points in the second half. They scored all their points in the first quarter against Norman in their first meeting of the season. And then last week, they got all their points against Oklahoma City in the first quarter. So 3rd down and 4, 7:57 remaining in the third quarter. Big Mac trying to run to get to the 1st down. And, Terrence Burris. I don't know why I said Big Mac. And actually now it's Andre Gresham? Robert Earl Johnson. Dennis, I think you're going to have to take over. My brain's having a meltdown here. I've named about 7 different players.
Well, that's better than me because I don't know any of them.
Yeah, eventually you run through the whole roster.
Just call them by their number. I think you'll be good.
Yeah, that guy in the red jersey. Now, speaking of jerseys, something we made light about in our first time these two teams met is This is Bedlam, and yet Stillwater, the team from Stillwater is wearing red, and the team from Norman is wearing orange. A little strange, isn't it?
Yeah, a little strange, but I guess they got their colors from the high school.
And I'll give you another odd fact about Norman right after this play. It's first down and 10, under 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Robert Earl Johnson takes the handoff. And we've got penalty flag on the play. So, Dennis, this is a fact you may not be familiar with, but Norman has two high schools, the Norman Original and Norman North. Norman High wears orange, and they're in Norman, of course, of OU. Now, Norman North, I'll show you this gesture. I know you can't see it on camera, but it looks like a hook'em horn, but it's actually a Timberwolf. So you've got one. So when they play each other, you got one side doing the Timberwolf, which looks like the hook'em horn, the other side clad in orange. These are two schools. Go figure.
I didn't know that. That's pretty funny.
And I know Midwest City, of course, they've got Carl Albert and the Bombers up there. The Bombers actually went pretty far. They were undefeated in the regular season this past season before getting smoked in the playoffs. I believe, was it Jenks who smoked them, or was it Union?
I believe it was Jenks that they lost to.
But they beat Putnam City North in a Week 10 matchup to win a district crown. And we got fumble. Ball is still loose. There's a scramble for it. And the Nitro are going to come away with it as John James recovers that fumble. And what was that, a bad snap?
That snap went through his hands. Well, actually, it was kind of low and it went through his hands.
So Norman's going to catch another break. And if Norman's offense could just do something, which they really have not done at any game this season outside of the first meeting against you guys in Midwest City, Norman's probably would be in first place in the league instead of being close to being out of the playoffs. And when I was noticing that play, it looked like reminiscent of the old XFL when you start the
to start the kickoff and you have it in the middle.
Whatever happened to the XFL? How's that doing?
Yeah, it went away. It went away after the first year.
Yeah, McMahon. Oh.
Wait, after this play. No, I get this play in here. I get this play in here.
It's going to be first down and 10 with 6:13 remaining here in the third quarter. Hand off to Big Mac, 35. Crosses the 40 to the 41-yard line. We'll take a media timeout in just a moment, our next available dead ball. And unfortunately, I didn't realize we had to take a media timeout, and I kept talking. I wish David, unfortunately, yeah, David's like, it wasn't my fault. Blame it on the director of broadcast operations.
Yeah.
Danny Force is not the director of broadcast operations. He's their statistician. It's going to be second down and 5 with 5:35 remaining here in the third quarter. There's a handoff there. That's to Farley. 45.
Looks like
across the 45. We got penalty. We got a fumble on the play.
Looks like he was down.
And they're going to say that he is down. They're going to check it right now. They're going to check it now. We're going to take a quick timeout while they sort that out. 5:09 left in the third quarter. Stillwater 13, Norman nothing. And we're back, just sorting through that fumble, and indeed. And indeed, we are back now. We had a quick timeout there while they were discussing whether Farley was down or not, and Farley was down, so we'll be first down and 10 for the Nitro. As the Nitro wants to get moving, they're dominating the ball. They're starting to dominate the line of scrimmage between the 20s, just like they did in the first game. But this, once again, they're bogging down when they get inside of Stillwater territories. It's going to be a 4-yard carry up to the 49-yard line. Farley with the handoff. And we've been stuck here at 13-0 since the late stages of the first quarter, as we had a couple of touchdown runs early in the ballgame. Terrence Burris had a 28-yard touchdown run on the first drive of the ballgame. And then at the end of the first quarter, Jerwin Johnson broke open a 70-yard touchdown run. And since then, we've been stuck at 13-0. Second down and 7, 4:26 remaining here in the third quarter. Huckabee quick's throw. Pass is complete to Aaron Powell, and that's going to be close to a first down as the ball gets squirted away, but that will be enough for first down as Powell was down.
See, that's what I was talking about earlier about those line drives. He threw a quick line drive to him. Before he was throwing those fades over his head, he couldn't keep up.
And we've got an officials timeout. We got a player down on the field. And I believe that's Aaron Powell who's down, number 4. Let's see if we can get in closer as he got hit hard. Can't see the number. We'll check out on the injury when we come back. 4:09 remaining in the third quarter. Stillwater still up 13-0. And we are back at Crooked Oak High School. Aaron Powell still on the sidelines. Looked like he had to be helped off the field. We'll have to get an injury update on the Norman sideline if there's any coaching staff left, as Jackie Smith got thrown out of the ball game. Big Mac takes the run. He's going to get a few yards. And for those of you just joining us, Jackie Smith, after that, as we have a holding, it looks like the preliminary seal. Jackie Smith, I guess, said something to the official or one of the league administrators, and he was thrown out at the half. And it's going to be a chop block against Norman. So this is going to be really interesting to see what does Norman do to handle this pressure. They're still not, their playoff hopes are still not dead. They're keeping Stillwater at bay. They play Shawnee next week. If they can somehow come back and win this game, beat Shawnee next week, they're going to most likely get in.
They got the opportunity here. They're getting it handed to them. I mean, it's only 13 points. I mean, you can always rebut from 13 points, but doesn't look like they're doing it. They're killing themselves.
As they're still hopeful to get some sort of an injury update on Aaron Powell before the night is over. He's still down. So hopefully it's nothing serious. Huckabee rolling out to his right on 1st and 16 after the chop block pass is caught. Shane Robb makes the catch, and one more broken tackle, and Shane Robb would have been in for a touchdown. Ball is going to be spotted at the 34-yard line. It's going to be a 17-yard gain. That's going to be right. It's actually going to be about a 14-yard gain. A little confliction between the scoreboard and the. So it's going to be right. It's going to be about a 17-yard gain. They're saying so it's going to be second down and short. Norman once again getting deep inside of Stillwater territory, and I've actually lost track, Dennis. I meant to keep track of it, but they had actually 6 straight possessions earlier this season where they got inside the opponent's 20. 5 times they didn't score. 1 time they got a field goal, and if they could have scored on those possessions, they would have won those games.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, sometimes you get in the red zone and you just don't call the right plays or they're not executed right.
Is that where it helps to have at least a good field goal kicker like a Ryan Henderson of Stillwater or even a Jeff Jackson of Midwest City to be able to at least put points on the board?
It helps a lot. Those 3 points, I mean, they go a long way.
You got penalty flag on the play as the pass was complete to Perez. It's going to be another face mask. And we've really noticed it in our 2 games today that the officials are really calling cracking down on the face mask penalty. We've seen it way more face mask penalties than you're used to seeing in your typical ball game.
I think anytime you touch over the shoulders or the helmet at all, you're going to get a face mask penalty. They're trying to, they're trying to protect these players, and a lot of the time you just, you get caught up in the game and you get frustrated, but you just got to keep them hands down. You got to use fundamentals when you're tackling.
And we have some unfortunate news. We were seeing a ambulance getting ready to pull into the stadium as Aaron Powell is still down. That is not a good injury. We saw last week we had some rough hitting between Oklahoma City and Stillwater. It was all legal, but we had Zach Tidwell who finished breaking his ankle last in the game, and then Laquan Rogers actually suffered an internal injury making a block, and so it's getting pretty physical now. As now the handoff, I believe that is to Perez again. Farley, I beg your pardon. It's a little hard to see the numbers here with the lights taking full effect as we're under 90 seconds to go here in the third quarter. We've really forgotten that there's a ball game going. We've been talking so much about the previous games and the fights that have almost happened tonight. We've really almost forgotten that there's a game going on, but this has really been a pretty good defensive battle, and this is actually exactly what Stillwater loves. They love it where they score 2 early touchdowns and then they race you to see if you can actually if you can match that.
Well, any team that does, it's going to be a good game. But if they can put one in here, their momentum will bounce back up, and that fourth quarter is going to be a long one.
It's going to be first down and second down as we are inside of a minute to go here in the third quarter. If Norman is able to get a touchdown, it will be back to a 1-possession ball game. Huckabee looking to throw it in the back, and that is intercepted by Ryan Henderson, and Henderson might have some running room as he crosses to the 25 to the 29-yard line. The kicker / safety secondary man, makes another great interception. And Dennis, I know we still have 15-plus minutes remaining in this ball game, but that might have just been the backbreaker for the Nitro.
I think it was. I really do, because they had an opportunity to score. I think that momentum was just lost. If Stillwater can drive down the field and at least get a field goal on the board, you'll see their heads drop.
So we'll keep it right here because we'll have one more play, and then we'll have the end of the third quarter. Ryan Henderson, though, Dennis, I got to ask you this. Have you ever seen a kicker that is able to actually be so effective on defense?
I really haven't. Usually in this league especially, kickers are just that. They're only kickers. They don't kick anything. They don't do anything else.
We're going to have one play. Like I said, we have 19 seconds left here in the third quarter. We'll have one play. It's going to be at the 30-yard line. Then we'll go to the fourth quarter. Handoff to Jerwin Johnson. Flag on the play. Johnson breaks a tackle. Trying to use the umpire as a screen. Another flag goes down to 40. So we're going to have a clock stoppage here. Now, Dennis, I want to ask you your honest opinion, and I'm going to ask you this, but I'm going to restrict it to where you can't name any of your own players. Who would you say is so far through 8 weeks of the season, who would be your MVP of the league so far? Restricting it where you can't name any of your players.
Well, if I had to go with it, I'd say Penny, that plays for the Gunners. He's been really effective for them. He's had a lot of good games, and it shows with their record. So if I had to name an MVP, that'd be the man.
If you were allowed to name a player on your own team, would it still be Vincent Penny, or would you start naming your roster?
It'd be my defense, that's for sure. My defense will hold it out. I mean, the only reason why we've got so far as we had is because of the defense, and they're shutting people out and holding people when we need it.
And that was a holding penalty on the play there, and we're actually going to tick down the final seconds as Midwest. What team is that? That's Stillwater. I'm going to name the whole league before we get it right. Stillwater does not have to run another play. We have 15 minutes remaining in this ball game. Stillwater might be on their way to victory unless Norman makes something happen in the fourth quarter. They lead it 13-0. Back here to start the fourth quarter here at Crooked Oak High School, and you're looking at something that we don't want to see at a football game, and that is an ambulance as Aaron Powell is still down. He is hurt, and his season's probably over as Norman only has one game left, and we'll come back to the action. It's going to be a short run on the play after a 1-yard loss. And Dennis, I know it's unfortunate to see an injury, but unfortunately this is football. It's a brutal sport, and it happens. It
does. It really does. You hate to see it, but especially if it's a good player. You know what I'm saying? Any player, but I mean, especially as one of your key players, you never like to see anybody get hurt. But a flawless season with no injury, that's mainly unheard of.
And they're going to bring a stretcher out. So Stillwater right now, after that penalty, it's going to be second down and 20 as we are a minute into the fourth quarter. Right now, Stillwater, obviously, their main goal is just to try to run the clock out and get out of here. As Robert Earl Johnson is going to take the handoff up to about the 25-yard line. Gain of about 5. And we're going to see Stillwater, I think we're going to see one of Stillwater's patented long drives here where really they don't really need points anymore. All they want to do is they'll gladly take 7-8 minutes off the clock even if they don't score, just because that cuts Norman's chances down. And Stillwater right now has 222 of offense on right now, all on the ground. Norman right now is actually at 200, so Norman was getting their tails whipped in the first quarter, but really since then they've dominated the line of scrimmage.
They picked it up a lot. I said that if they had started out with the run, it would have been a different ball game.
So it's going to be third down and 15 as we have 13 minutes remaining in the ball game. And there's a handoff up the middle. Belleville, I believe, with the handoff. He's going to be well short of the first down, but normally when you're first and 20, you usually will try to, at some point, have to pass to try to get the first down, but Stillwater more concerned about trying to run time than get the first down. And we're going to have a punt here coming up by Ryan Henderson, who just made that interception to stop that drive. We actually had it one time earlier this year when Ryan Henderson he ended an opponent's drive with an interception. That would be Shawnee. The ensuing Stillwater possession, he ended it with a field goal. Something that you don't really see that often.
Right.
Go ahead.
Stillwater, they may be killing themselves. There's still a lot of time in this ball game, and Norman has been run the ball effectively, if they can start passing and doing something.
It's a fake. I'm going to cut you off, Dennis. There's a fake to Matt Taylor. 40-45, first down and a lot more. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Dennis, but a little surprised there to see a fake there, especially when you're up 13-0.
It was. I mean, you got to look at that, though. But I'm sure they're trying to score again. There's a lot of time in the game. They don't want Norman to be able to score at the end of the game and try to get an onside kick and try to tie the ball game up.
Just out of curiosity, not to try to start anything between any of the coaches, but do you suppose maybe Jeff Tabish was just trying to he was a little angry at the Norman side for that scuffle and the plays breaking down, and do you think maybe it was a little bit of trying to stick it to Norman?
Not really. I think he's a good guy. I don't think he does that. I think that, to be honest with you, he knew that he probably needed that fourth down to keep the ball and run the clock out. So I don't see him sticking to anybody.
Well, here's something interesting. That's the first completion of the night for Stillwater. Henderson is 1 out of 1 for 17 yards, and Jeff Tavish may just want to stick him back behind the center in addition to being a two-way player on offense, defense, and special teams as Burris takes the handoff up to the 47-yard line as Ryan Henderson's really, I don't know if you want to call him an Ironman sort of like in the AFL, but he's really becoming a versatile player.
And that's good. A lot of these teams have those versatile players. Unfortunately, they're not playing a whole bunch of different positions because the one that they play, they start at is probably the best one that they should be at.
So the ball now is at the 47-yard line. And Stillwater's had the ball now for about 4 minutes. They took over with 19 seconds left in the third quarter. And a field goal actually would not, it would still be a two-possession game if Stillwater got a field goal. But like we said with Norman, they have one offensive touchdown. And I'll do some quick math here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Including this game, they have one offensive touchdown in their last 5 games. 2nd and 6. There's a handoff. Robert Earl Johnson takes it. He's going to be brought down. He's going to be marked down at the 42-yard line. But as we were saying, they've had one offensive touchdown in their last 5 games. By comparison, Oklahoma City had 4 touchdowns on offense today alone. You guys, Midwest City, had, I believe, 4 last week against this Norman team. And it's just one of those things where Norman can win if they get in a defensive battle. The problem is teams like Stillwater love to score touchdowns early and then try to make it match them.
Well, that may hurt them in the end of the season because if you get teams that want to play catch-up, especially when it gets to playoff time, we're going to be pulling everything out of the box to try to score because that might be your last game. So hopefully that's not a philosophy that they're going to. It might be just that their conditioning is not really, what most teams are.
It's going to be 3rd down and 3. Stillwater with a chance to try to keep the drive going. Burris takes the pitch. First down, a lot more. He's off to the races. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Stillwater.
Outstanding. That's what they needed.
And take the touchdown off the board as there was a holding call on the play. Erase that 43-yard touchdown run by Terrence Burris. Instead, that's coming back on a hold, and that touchdown would have certainly put the nail into the Norman coffin for tonight and possibly their season, but now it's going to be a 10-yard holding penalty, and that's really going to help Norman as that's going to get the touchdown off the board. Now Stillwater's going to be 3rd down and long.
And that's really unfortunate. Those type of penalties, they'll kill you, and I said that all through the game today. You can't have stuff like that. That's a big play, and had that came down to the end of the game, that would have been one that would have cost you.
But it looked like that was one of those holding calls that actually sprang the block. You really hate those holding calls that are away from the ball that really wouldn't have had an effect on the play. But I think in this case it was clearly why he was able to score. So at least it was a hold that made the touchdown instead of a hold that was completely away from the play.
Right.
10:05 remaining in the fourth quarter, I beg your pardon. Ball's going to be back on the Stillwater side of the field. The 49. Burris in motion. Handoff is going to go fake to Burris. Handoff is going to actually go to Robert Earl Johnson. That's going to be a loss on the play. That's going to bring up 4th down. So Stillwater holds the ball for about 6 minutes. They're not going to score, but they really did what I think they wanted to do, and that was they took a lot of time off the clock. So Ryan Henderson will be back on the punt again. Little Mac will be back at the field. And once again, Norman is still only down by 2 scores. If somehow they can just get something on offense. If this were an Arena League setup where you only had a 50-yard field instead of a 100-yard field, Norman would be scoring every drive, but unfortunately this is the outdoor game, so it's not. Punt block, rush on the play, penalty flag is down. Ball takes a Outlaws bounce inside the 20, but we have a penalty flag on the play. And Aaron Powell is being, and we'll take a look at Aaron Powell as he's being helped off to the hospital. We'll try to get a update on it. Looks like it's his left leg is maybe a speculation, maybe a fracture or a broken left leg. So we'll follow Powell out while we're waiting for the penalty to be assessed. It was at the line. It was actually right where the defenders were at trying to. It was thrown right where one of the defenders was about to try to block the punt, but he didn't touch the punter, so I wouldn't suspect that it's going to be a running or roughing penalty. And now I'm being told that it was a rib injury by Aaron Powell. Might have broken a rib. We're being told from the field. And we're just being told some sort of a rib injury, so obviously it's probably most likely a broken rib, as those are painful injuries especially. And Jeff Jackson, I'm told, did Jeff have one of those similar injuries? Very deep bruise. Those are not fun. I had one of those as a kid. Those take forever to heal. So it's a penalty. Not sure what the penalty was, but Stillwater re-kicked. Little Mac let the ball go, and he's going to touch it for some reason. I don't know why he touched that. I don't know why Little Mac touched that. I don't know if maybe he originally touched it and he had to try to fall on it, but instead of being a touchback, now Norman's going to have to drive 99 yards down the field just to try to get back in this ball game. We've got 8:43 remaining in our ball game. Stillwater still leading 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, 8:43 remaining in our ball game, and Little Mac touches the ball, and he's going to start way back at the 2-yard line, which if you're up 13-0, that's not a bad thing, but when you're down 13-0, it's really difficult. He's going to try to air it out. Pass is incomplete. I believe Jared Singer was on the play. Now, Dennis, I want to ask you a hypothetical question here. If this were the third quarter, and you were backed up, or if this was, say, later on or a little early in the fourth quarter, would you try to take an intentional safety just to try to get the ball, even give up 2 points, still be down by 2 scores, but try to get a reestablished field position and get a stop? Because you've been stopping Stillwater all night.
Well, here again, you got to go back to your running game, because they're and I've been saying this all game. Their running game is effective. They just need to start moving the ball, and they've done it quite a bit. They just haven't done it consistent.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 10 after the incompletion. Huckabee's going to roll out of his end zone. He's going to chuck it deep. That is intercepted by Matt Taylor, as he tried to hit Arthur Brewer, but Matt Taylor read it perfectly, and now he gives Stillwater a short field, and Stillwater now with a chance to try to take some more time off the clock, as Taylor with the interception. That is the 2nd interception of the ball game by the Stillwater defense. As just nothing has been, Norman, just anytime they think they can get something going, they just make a boneheaded play and it just stops. As just to give you a quick update, we're being told Aaron Powell has some sort of a rib injury. I'm not sure if it was a broken rib or a punctured lung, but obviously we're going to try to follow that, and we hope to have an update on that before we sign off tonight. So it's going to be 1st down and 10 for Stillwater. Norman's going to take a timeout. Let's take it with them. 8:30 remaining in our ball game, and Stillwater looks like they're on their way to victory, up 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, Matt Taylor with the interception. Norman takes a timeout as frustration just boiling over. Stillwater will start at their own 20-yard line. Handoff up the middle. And there's going to be not much on the plays. We'll take a quick look here. You see Matt Taylor, number 19, on the bench with that interception. And like I had mentioned on the right before that happened, Dennis, would you have preferred to take an intentional safety back that far away and just try to play defense?
I wouldn't have never threw it, first of all. I mean, I'd have ran the ball at least to the 20, and if I couldn't have done it, then punted it. You're going to get a better chance. You never want to give them points.
As Matt Taylor, as we were talking about, with another interception. Stillwater's defense, minus the game last week against the Gunners, They have just been on, and when that defense is on, you can't score on them. As Belleville takes the handoff, as he crosses the 20, fumble on the play, and I think Norman's trying to jump on it. And I think Big Mac might have fallen on it, and yep, Big Mac falls on it as Belleville fumbles the ball. And yep, the clock will, and the, so Norman's going to get the ball back with 7:22 left in the fourth quarter. Stillwater leading 13-0, and coming up a little bit later on, it's going to be our Fox 25 player of the ball game, and obviously we're going to have to start looking at, because no one on Norman has done anything in particular, we'll have to see who we're going to see on the Stillwater sideline. We really have not seen, do you have anybody in mind you might want to, who you think could be the player of the game?
Really, I haven't seen anybody do a whole lot except for the running backs when they ran, those touchdowns in. The defense has been doing okay, but that one interception, they had a lot of chances to make picks, and they dropped them. Well,
it's probably between Terrence Burris and Jerwin Johnson, but Johnson had a 70-yard touchdown run, so he got a lot of those yards on one play as that handoff goes up to about the 16-yard line. So that's going to bring up second down. Taking a look at the, as soon as Danny Force would pop those up, we'll take a look at the stats for Stillwater. And yep, Jerwin Johnson has 97 yards. Burris has 75, so take your pick between those two. Those guys have 172 yards between them. 259 yards of total offense for Stillwater, but that may be a little bit misleading, as the Outlaws, I believe, had 204 in the first half, so they only have 55 here in the second half. Second down and 7, time really becoming the enemy of Norman if they want to get back in this ball game. Huckabee looking to throw, screen pass to Big Mac, and Big Mac drops it. Incomplete pass. It's going to be third down and 7. As time is really the enemy of the Nitro. They have 2 timeouts left, but they've still got a long way to go in the field. Now Chris Dotson is coming up to the booth. Hopefully we'll get a quick word with him to see what what happened on the field. Okay, it's going to be third down and 7. As Huckabee rolling out to his right, looking to throw. Still looking to throw. Chucks it, and that is knocked away by the Outlaw player. That's number 34, Jason Gomez. Looked like he was playing a little bit of beach volleyball out there. As if he would have gotten both hands on it, if he could have picked that off, that would have been another touchdown. As Norman, I would suspect here, do you go for it on fourth down if you're backed up and down 13-0? You really have not much to lose.
You really don't. I mean, they have moved the ball really well. You go for something deep, and hopefully it gets picked off, or you go for a fake punt.
Now, even if Norman is assuming Norman goes on to lose, even if they win next week against Shawnee, there's still only an outside hope they're going to get in, because it will go to the point differential. And right now, coming into tonight, Norman was 39 points behind Shawnee coming into today's ball games. Midwest City is right now in the best spot, as they actually are going to punt it. As Matt Taylor is going to be smart and get away from it at the 46-yard line. And we've got 6:07 left in the ball game. We'll have an injury update on Aaron Powell when we come back. Stillwater looks like they're on their way to victory, up 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, coming out of timeout as there's a run on the play. And we were talking about the point differential. Let me do some quick math in my head. Norman's going to drop to 2-5. Shawnee and Midwest City at 2-4. So Norman at best is going to be able to tie Shawnee or Midwest City, depending on what happens. The point differential, if nothing changes tonight, Midwest City was off this week, so they're at -10. Shawnee's at -53. Norman is at -77. So Norman's going to be 24 points behind Shawnee heading into the final game of the season. So obviously they're going to have to beat Shawnee, and they're going to have to beat them by 25 points in order to have a shot to get into the playoffs. Unless Shawnee were to get completely blown out by Stillwater, because we have a penalty flag on the play. So even if Norman wins next week, they're going to have to probably blow out Shawnee in order to try to finish with a better point differential depending on Shawnee's finish. And while we have a second here, we'll play a little history lesson here. Back in 2002, when the NFL had all those teams that could have gotten into the playoffs, it was the first year of the realignment when the Texans came in. It got so crazy the last week of the season. You had 5 or 6 teams that were watching the scoreboard not to see who was winning, but to see who was scoring, because we had somewhere there was a point differential that came in. It was either the end of the 01 or the 02 season, and it gets pretty crazy because not only are you just trying to match wins and losses, but you got to try to outscore your opponents just to win that tiebreaker. There's the handoff. Another handoff up the middle is Stillwater trying to run out the clock. Norman has 2 timeouts left plus a 2-minute warning. And I think probably if we have to go with a player, I would say Jerwin Johnson, for a player of the game, not because of his stats, because most of his stats came on one run, but because that 70-yard touchdown run, really that broke the back for Norman, as Norman has not been able to mount much, and we could give it to the defense again, but we already gave it to the Stillwater defense. We gave it to 20 players in the win over Shawnee, and it's hard to try to get all 20 players on camera at one time.
Right.
So the clock now under 4:20, 4:15 remaining in the regulation. Shovel pass goes up to the 35-yard line. You can tell we're bogging down because we're not even paying attention to who's still got the... as Belleville with the...
Looks like he might have a first down, real close.
And he's going to be short by about half a yard. And we're talking about the Norman sideline. Dennis, David, feel free to count with me, but I'm only counting about 8 guys left on the sideline, as we've had 1 guy thrown out, 1 guy injured.
Yeah, 8.
Doing some quick. So you only have 19 players left. That's I don't know what the exact roster is for 8-man football in high school, but really it's hard to field a team because you don't even have enough guys to field starting offense and defense.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for him, especially going into the game next week when Shawnee really wants to win, and so does Norman. But Norman, if they don't blow him out, they really don't have a chance, like you said.
Roderick Hall takes the handoff. We haven't heard his name much tonight, as he's going to get inside the 25, down the 24. While we have a moment, let's go ahead and do our scoring summary for tonight's ball game, brought to you by our friends at Santa Fe Cattle Company. And quick scoring summary tonight, as Terrence Burris with a 28-yard touchdown run. Extra point was good. Stillwater had a quick 7-0 lead, 10:51 left in the first quarter. And then later on in the first quarter, 7 seconds were left in the first quarter, Jerwin Johnson broke a couple tackles. 70-yard touchdown run, extra point no good. And Stillwater led it 13-0 at that point. And that's where we've been at right now. And our game recap presented by our friends at Santa Fe Cattle Company. As Stillwater got a first down, 1 more first down away from being able to run the clock out, most likely. Handoff up the middle. That's Kyle Belleville, 10-5. Doesn't score, but that will move the chains. Ball will be down at the 5-yard line, and we'll get the 2-minute warning here. And Dennis, maybe not a bad idea not to score, because you're able to now, if Norman doesn't use their timeouts, now you can run the clock out on the other side of the 2-minute warning.
Right. So you got the first down.
So we're going to take the 2-minute timeout here. Stillwater is going to be 5-1 by the time the night is over. They are on their way to pitching a shutout up 13-0. Back here at Crooked Oak High School, final 2 minutes of this ball game, as Stillwater's probably going to, I would suspect, Dennis Albert, that Stillwater most likely just going to run out the clock unless Jeff Tavish really wants to just, for some reason, grind another touchdown out, which actually it would make sense to do it, because you've got to make up that point differential against Oklahoma City. Got a fumble on the play, actually. And I think Stillwater recovered. And while we've got a moment, let's go ahead and pan down to the sidelines, as we're going to introduce you to tonight's Fox 25 player of the ball game. And it's going to be number 26, Jerwin Johnson. Johnson had 8 carries for 97 yards and a 70-yard touchdown. It was actually, even though most of his yards came on one play, that was a touchdown where he was able to break a couple tackles, and that was a critical play that really got Stillwater up 13-0, and they've been on cruise control ever since. Dennis Albert shaking his head, agreeing. So, Jerwin Johnson, our Fox 25 player of the game. And I think we'll see a kneel down now with the that near fumble on the last snap here. And there it is. And let's give you next week's schedule while we have it. 9th week of the season. Game 1 of our doubleheader at noon next week. Stillwater taking on Midwest City. We'll get your thoughts on that game in a second. Game 2 is going to be Norman against Shawnee. Shawnee can clinch a playoff spot with a win over Norman, and actually they can clinch a playoff spot for Midwest City if they win as well, or if the game were to end in a tie. And while we have a moment here, Dennis, give us your little preview of next week's game against Midwest City.
Well, our keys to
against Stillwater.
Our keys to playing Stillwater is we're going to have to get up on them early and stop them from running on us and make them play catch up. And the last game we played, we held them just like this, and we scored at the very end. So if we get that momentum going at the beginning of the game, we shouldn't have any problems.
As it'll be a rematch from week number 2 of the season, with Stillwater's first game, and Stillwater got scored on their first 2 possessions of that ball game. They're up 13-0. About 10 minutes into the ball game, and they actually held you guys in check. You guys did get a late touchdown to, I remember you were telling us about as they were getting about that, and we'll talk to you more about that next week. Dennis Albert, we appreciate you being up here in the booth, and as always, anytime you want to come on up here in the playoffs, if you guys don't make it, or if you guys don't make the Metro Bowl, feel free to come back up.
Outstanding.
Our ball game is over. Week 8 is over as Stillwater beats Norman 13-0. 2 shutouts today as Oklahoma City beats Shawnee as well. And for Dennis Albert, my analyst tonight, David Potter, my spotter and cameraman, and Danny Force, the stats guy. My name is Greg Sherman saying thank you for watching Oklahoma Metro Football League action. We'll see you next week right here on OKFootball.net. Taking a look here at the empty field and the empty stands here at Crooked Oak High School as we are now finished with Week 8 of the season. Couple of shutouts as Stillwater beats Norman in Game 2 13-0. Earlier today, Oklahoma City over Shawnee 28-0. And welcome back to the Crooked Oak press box. Greg Sherman here along with Midwest City coach Dennis Albert, who is the analyst for me this week. And Dennis, we had a couple of games today. We figured that maybe they would be potential blowouts, and really both games are shutouts. Anything you saw that really was unexpected today?
Not really. I expect them to be a little bit closer than this because toward the end of the season, the teams usually play harder, and they work on things that they did wrong at the beginning of the season, and you see a lot of closer games toward the end. But it doesn't seem like they've been doing a whole lot. So.
Now, Shawnee was actually able to get their, Norman was able to get their offense going in the second half. They were down. They gave up 200-plus yards of offense in the first half, ended up giving up 306, but they really settled down the second half, and they got their offense going. Was it more of Norman trying to play catch up in the second half, or was it just Stillwater trying to play prevent?
I really don't know. I mean, I looked at it. Stillwater, they played prevent ball, but at the same token, Norman, they didn't really do anything to play catch up. They threw the ball a lot, and then they ran a lot, but when you're running a lot, you're running the clock out, and you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I don't know if they were just out there playing to play. That's kind of what it looked like.
And let's go ahead and take a look at the standings here. We'll get a full-screen graphic. Up here, the updated standings now. Through week number 8, Gunners and Stillwater, nothing changes. Gunners win tonight 6-1. Stillwater wins as well, 5-1. Gunners still with a overwhelming lead on the point differential, which is probably that's what it's going to come down to. It doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to stop them the rest of the way. Shawnee drops to 2-4, the loss today. Midwest City was Iowa's 2-4. Dennis Albert up here to analyze game number 2. David Potter, assistant for Midwest City, analyzed game number 1. We thank them for coming up here as we take one last look at Crooked Oak High School. We'll remind you our final score of our second game, Bedlam Part 2. Stillwater wins it 13-0. For all of us associated with the Oklahoma Metro Football League, my name is Greg Sherman saying thank you for watching and have a good night, everybody.